All right. Wait, hold on. Is it your turn or my turn?
You do it. Hello and welcome to the Automana Podcast, episode 18. We're officially legal,
Mm.
I think, right?
Not
You
to
could
drink,
catch
but we're
our.
dating.
Yeah, there you go. You could catch our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We have our YouTube channel. We have a Twitter account specifically for Automana Cast. That's the tagline. And anything else you want to add there, Josh? I always say that to you
Instagram,
because I have
TikTok,
it
but
back.
all links are in the
Instagram,
description.
TikTok, yes, I'll care. And then if Vine was still around, we'd probably be on that too. Or maybe it is still around. You might want to get on top of that.
I think they closed that down, but all
You finally
links are in the
closed it
description
down.
below.
No IG, no nothing.
No, we have Instagram.
Oh, we have IG. Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
See,
Instagram,
I don't
TikTok.
even know what the fuck we
Vine
did. I'm on the
Vine
podcast.
isn't a
What the
thing
fuck?
anymore.
Anyway, so today's topics really, we're gonna talk about Andrew Tate again. And I say that because we've discussed him before. And really quickly, briefly, I'm gonna pop it up on the screen. Villains with the best plans, and oops, I'm doing that wrong here. What was the last one?
The best earning
He's not
media
normal?
of the year.
There you go, best earning media. Of the
It's
year.
funny
Okay.
when you said, I know you meant villains with the best plan, but for some reason my headphones said bands with the best plans.
Dance with the best plans. So for a second, I didn't think I had them in order there, but so yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. Of course, if you check our description, you'll see all the timestamps. So if you want to just fast forward to that one, be our guest. Feel free to join our conversations and leave comments and feedback and all that good stuff. Josh, my good sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing pretty good. We're almost out of 22. About to begin 23. So let's start there.
Well, first, how was your Christmas?
Okay, let's backtrack. How was Christmas? Christmas was okay. It could have been better, and I'm just being honest. Because, like, initially I wanted to go see my brand new niece out in Wisconsin, which is, for those that don't know, a whole, like, state away for me. But with that pending storm that was on our horizon,
Yeah,
I opted not to go. So I'm a horrible uncle. But no, I told him, I was like, look, driving 6 hours and something like that is probably not the best idea.
Mm.
And I know they got hit like harder differently. So nonetheless, I stood home, still enjoying myself. It was nice and quiet. But that was pretty much the gist of my Christmas. How about you, sir?
So me, obviously, I always get together with the family because all of us, fortunately, live close together, so we're able to do that. Unfortunately, there's people that don't have that luxury, but I am. So we exchanged presents. We met each other. Also, we celebrate birthday and Christmas at the same time because one of our members actually has a birthday on the 24th. So
Oh wow,
we do birthday, Christmas as well. Tons of birthdays in December for me. You're one of them.
that's true. That's true.
But yeah, we did birthday, Christmas. Obviously, we all exchanged gifts. I didn't get much because didn't have much to ask for this year, but I did get some money. So with that money, I ended up buying 3 games. I bought whatchamacallit. I bought Warhammer 40k, Space Marines. I bought Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, regrettably, because I caved in. I got buyer's remorse from that. And I also got Ghostwire Tokyo for PS5. So I was happy about that.
Were any or all of them on sale already?
So the reason why I bought, well, yes, Ghostwire Tokyo usually is like $60, sales usually $30, but for some reason they're having like a clearance section at GameStop, so it was on extra discount, so it was like $20 because they're getting rid of all that stuff, plus I had my $5 coupon, so I got Ghostwire for $15. Call of Duty, it's still stupid expensive, even with the sale. It was like $56 on sale, which is dumb to me with that price, but I was like, this is supposed to be a 2-year game. That's the reason why I picked it up, because I'm like, I highly doubt it's going to go any lower than this, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked it up. Luckily, it came with all like the battle pass, all that stuff for $6. So I was like, okay, I'll take that.
Mm-hmm.
And then unfortunately, 40k Warhammer Space Marine isn't on sale because it's an old game, so I had to buy that off of eBay. And I've been wanting to play because I've been really getting into the Warhammer series. One, because we talked about it, on the previous episodes with Henry Cavill joining it. But the story for Warhammer is massive. It's probably one of the best fantasy sci-fi stories out there, in my opinion, rivaling Dune. So I've been getting into that with the games, movies, books, and all that stuff. So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't think you're the only one trying to get into that. Not me, but I've been talking to other people that too have jumped on that bandwagon, so to speak. And yeah, a lot of people are quickly enamored by it. Um, but I'll leave it as that. So I was like, I'll probably eventually learn a lot from you about it, but we'll see. We'll see if I end up also jumping on that bandwagon.
Well, story wise, I think you might like it because it's really expansive. It's pretty much like World of Warcraft and how they go from the reason why they call it 40K is because it's set 40,000 years in the future, well 41 millennia or whatever. It's like how they judge that. So you see like our pre-evolution, our current state, and how we progress throughout technology's history, and then how we expand to other planets and all that stuff. It's really cool. When I say I want to get into 40K Warhammer, I'm also wanting to get into like the tabletop version, like building the little sculptures because I think they're really cool. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to go through, a lot of stories because I think it came out in like the 50s or 60s. Like it's been around for a very long time.
Interesting, because one person that I was talking about it earlier in the week claimed it's only been around since the 90s, and I was like, I was puzzled when he said that. I'm like, you sure about that? Because I don't think that's the truth or that's the case. But like I said, I don't know because it's I don't know anything about it really. I knew about the tabletop variety of it, and that's why I was like, I highly doubt it just came out in the 90s. If tabletop stuff like Dungeons and Dragons and shit have been out forever. It's like, but
Let me see. Okay. It's the most popular miniature war game in the world, and it's particularly popular in the United Kingdom. Okay, United Kingdom. The first edition of the rulebook was published in. Oh, I guess he was right. I remembered it being rivaled with like Dungeons and Dragons, but it came out in 1987.
So he was right. You were wrong.
I was wrong.
But yeah, so like yeah, because what he was telling me was like it's fairly new considering fantasies are concerned. Because you look at very rich, um, IPs that exist. So like the Star Wars and Dungeons and Dragons and Star Trek, and the fantasy list goes on. I guess you would like you did obviously mention Warcraft because of me, but I guess Warcraft would be even younger than that. But
yeah, Warcraft only started in like 1999 or 2000.
yeah, I would have to check when Warcraft 1 came out, but yeah, so like it's still in the grand scheme of things when it comes to fantasies or sci-fi's or what have I still say sci-fi is a fantasy, but
I mean it is. It's just a sci-fi. It's
yeah,
just
no,
a
it is. It's a
futuristic
genre
fantasy.
of yeah, exactly. That it's still kind of in its youth for lack of a better term. So I'll leave it as that. Like I said, he was telling me some stuff, and I was like, okay. I figured, and I mentioned you through him. I was like, yeah, I know my other buddy's getting into it. I'm sure I'll learn through him as well. So I'll probably learn through both of you guys, and whoever else, and maybe I'll tiptoe into that at some point.
Honestly, it's one of those series that you can't tell to somebody that's not interested because there's a lot of story, history, and lore involved. So I could say a lot of things that you'd be like, in one ear out the other because there's so much in that universe. Like they just built upon it so extensively throughout those years.
But I was telling to him because like I knew with the whole Cavill situation that it immediately gained traction, but I don't think it's officially been greenlighted yet. It has
official, yeah. He's also either a director or executive producer. I think he's an executive producer on it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, because I that part I must have missed.
Yeah, we're probably gonna talk about him again in the future because supposedly him, Ben Affleck, and Gal Gadot, I think her name is, they're all forming some kind of lawsuit against Warner Brothers because of the whole contract issue that they've had. Because they cancel a lot of their projects when they were contracted into actually having those movies done, and now they're just snapping them away. So they actually have a case against them, and most likely if they do, they're probably gonna win.
Interesting.
But that'll be for a later date when more things get fleshed out.
I think it's more interesting that Affleck is a part of that because
Well, the reason
I,
why Affleck is a part of it is because he was also contracted into directing the next Batman movie.
well, that much I don't know, but what was said was Gunn was still in discussions with him to not necessarily direct a Batman movie, but direct something from his DC universe, his newer vision, that he was gonna, I guess, allow him to direct one or whatever. So that's why I felt like that's interesting that he's part of that class action, if it is a class action. But
Yeah, that
um,
I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't bring it up is because the story is still developing, so it's too early to
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah.
report
I
anything.
mean, you can always talk about it. I mean, we're not really reporting on it. All we're doing is talking on reports, and that's basically
Yeah.
what we're doing, right? So, um, but yeah, no, I didn't hear about that either. So that is very interesting because the only one that hasn't been axed officially, I think, is Jason Momoa, right?
He has been well.
Which is so bizarre.
So when you say axed, do you mean like from Aquaman or from Warner Bros? Like
Yes. Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're talking about switching him from Aquaman to Lobo.
Oh no. I mean, he looks it, but come on, man. Like, because I know. Did we talk about the Rock and him too, or was that
Yes. Yeah.
okay? Okay, yeah. So like you said, it's all. There's so much going on. It's.
Which is hilarious because adding on to what The Rock was doing, how he wanted Henry Cavill in there at the end and all that
Mhm.
stuff. So because of all the issues with the whole Flash 2 coming out or Flash movie coming out, the cameo that Henry Cavill was supposed to have in that as well, they
Mhm.
completely took out of the movie.
Mhm.
And they made him shoot a couple of scenes. Like when I say a couple, I'm talking about like a lot of scenes, just so he can
Mhm.
be in that movie that
Mhm.
they've done a nightmare of reshoots for. And then all those reshoots were basically for nothing because they took him out at the end.
Damn. Yeah, that's. I mean, it's so shitty because like as I've stated, I don't watch the Marvel movies. I watched very few of them, but I would gravitate more towards DC because they do have a darker tone to their films and everything, and I like that. I'm not shitting on Marvel. I know they put on good movies. I know they put on good movies. I just haven't consumed them, and I'm not that like giddy for them like the rest of the world is.
It's
But
just too bad DC, even though I think Zack, because people for some reason are bashing Zack Snyder for his version, which I thought his versions was amazing.
that was like his cut was like badass. Matter of fact, I want to rewatch it in the black and white version. I don't know if you watched that one.
I haven't. I don't
Yeah.
think I'm going to because I like the color, but
Uh-huh.
I definitely know that they have a black and white version.
Yeah.
But I feel like Warner Brothers is the reason for this, not the director's fault. It's Warner Brothers for bad leadership, and I
Yeah.
think they need to bring a Zack Snyder back because as much as I like James Gunn, I think Guardians of the Galaxy is great. I like some of the other projects he's done. Um, Zack Snyder just has a better vision for how DC should be.
Well, benefit of doubt. It's really hard to say, right? Because you haven't seen Gunn's vision at all, because he hasn't given anything.
Well,
So
we have
it's
seen
easy to
Gunn's
say
vision.
you could say you like Snyder's vision and you were liking his newer vision or whatever, but you can't really low blow Gunn there.
I kind of can because
Okay.
one of James Gunn's movies for DC was the new Suicide Squad, the second
Okay.
one.
Okay.
And that's a good movie. Don't get me wrong, it's a good movie. But James Gunn to me is too comedic for DC,
Gotcha.
and that's the fault that I see. Is
Gotcha.
I love his movies. When he does his movies, he does them well. But
Mm-hmm.
the tone that we wanted for Zack Snyder's version, he's going
Mm-hmm.
to completely change and make it. In my opinion, I feel like it's going to be more humorous. But I will give him a chance because I like to give everybody a chance. But I feel like he's too humorous for DC, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Okay. Understood. Um. So we talked about Christmas. Then we got off track, which is perfectly fine. That's what we do on this podcast. We love getting off track. But so New Year's. You got your plans for tomorrow?
I do. I'm going back to my family's house. We always spend New Year's together as much as we can because it's just what we do. Um, we're gonna be up all night until the ball drops. Then we'll probably party for like another hour or two, and then we all go home.
Nice. Right now, as it stands, I'm going out with a few friends to like this miniature golf bar thing. And then I don't know if we're gonna be out for the whole countdown or what, but that's probably the bulk of the plans, as well as celebrate a birthday as well. It's also gonna be my sister's birthday too, so say happy early birthday to her.
Not bad. It's
Um,
always good to whack a few balls
so lots of
before
birthdays, yeah.
New Year.
So yeah, it should be a pretty fun night. One thing I'm hoping for, not to like give too much of my personal information out, but I now have the luxury of being up high in a particular building, so I'm hoping to see a lot of fireworks. I don't know if I will, but I think that'd be pretty dope. um, so that's my plans for tomorrow.
I'm trying to think. I don't know if we actually have a lot of fireworks where I'm at. 4th of July, it's crazy over here. But
Yeah.
New Year's, I don't think there's a lot of people that throw off fireworks in my area.
Yeah, usually not, but that's what I'm saying. My hope is to, maybe see something. But if not, it's cool. My goals is obviously not to get hungover. I just want to have enough
To have fun.
drinks to feel good. Yep, just have fun. But yeah, so
Do you have
those are my
any?
plans.
I know people like to say New Year's resolutions that usually drop like a month after New Year's. But do you have
Hmm.
any goals, resolutions, whatever you want to call it, going
Yes,
forward?
yes. It's not like, the simplistic go to the gym, work out, da da da. Those are all things I should be doing anyway. And probably what I'm about to say is what I should be doing anyway as well. But I'm gonna take a more concerned effort to remove toxicity in my life.
Ooh, you heard it here first. We're not. Me and Steve aren't gonna be talking soon.
So, and I make good on my resolutions.
Well, so when
so
you say remove toxicity, are you talking about people, or are you talking about just anything in general that's just negative for your health? Like, if you're living in a bad condition, or if you're eating the wrong foods, you're changing that. Is it mindset? What do you mean by
it's a
toxicity?
it's a fantastic analysis. That all could encompass it, but the immediate one would be like for a mental effect. And this might not be the wisest choice in the form that we're, partaking in with podcasting and growing and whatnot. But first and foremost, I am going to get rid of my Facebook. I'm done. It's going to be gone. You served your time. It was fine for a while, but I'm done with it.
Are you getting rid of it because of information overload, or you just don't like the people you're seeing post?
It's not really the people anymore because I've done purges, right? So I feel like I've got it to a point where I don't have people necessarily annoying me. It's just the whole Facebook for Facebook.
I think I kind
I
of
mean,
understand.
maybe there can be additional filtering I can do, but like it's just become so convoluted over time that at least for on my end, it's just way too commercialized and then also negatively commercialized.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm just done with it. I'm just done with it.
I totally feel you. That's the reason why I don't use Facebook.
Yeah, and
Because
and,
they
and,
hit you
and
with everything at once, and it's not even filtered for you. It's just everything at once.
yeah, and like I said, I've been in their filtering and settings section, and there is a lot to filter. So
And there's
maybe
also a
there's a
lot of
better.
spam and bots and all that
Cor-
stuff on there.
Correct. So I just thought about this right now, but by getting rid of that, maybe I'll pick up a different one. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Throw that out there. But yeah, I'm done with Facebook. I'm totally done with Facebook. Um, so that's part of the toxicity purge, so to speak, the cleansing of. But yeah, we'll go from there. Dare I say that was an easy resolution of mine, but everything else, it's the same old shit. Everybody wants to work out more, do this, do that. We'll see. We'll see. What about you, sir?
So, going with the workout thing. So early.
And there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying there's anything. I'm just saying it's a common one. That's all.
No, I definitely agree. But so this year, I was doing pretty well. I was going to the gym very consistently, 5 days a week, every single week for about 2.5 months before I got sick with COVID. Then unfortunately, holidays, birthdays, just life got to it, and I just couldn't do it. Unfortunately, it was also the winter time, so that made traveling harder. So
I mean, sorry, not to really bring your personal life in this conversation, but technically you've been working out because you've been doing a lot of lifting lately.
oh,
So
I did a
and other
lot
meets.
of lift.
So I'm just,
But I think that's also what brings me back is that, because I've been moving so much with lifting, it makes me want to go back because, I feel strong. I'm tired all the time because of this, but I've been sleeping better because I'm using all my energy. I feel stronger.
mm-hmm.
So starting January 2nd, because, that's Monday, I'm going to do my thing again 5 days a week as long as I possibly can. I want to see if I can go past 3 months. Obviously, if I get sick, I can't control that, but go as much as I possibly can. And if I get sick, make sure I'm back on the, board again and keep going because I want to do it to feel better. That's it.
Gotcha. If I may steal the spotlight again really quick. I mean, as you were saying that, I kind of like feel like maybe the working out part, like I said, I think everybody tries it. I think I'm still going to try it myself, if I'm being honest. What I definitely haven't done in the past and maybe I might start doing is probably better dieting. And I don't mean dieting in a sense where, I'm looking to lose weight. I mean, if anybody has seen me from the podcast, I'm not super skinny, but I'm thin. So like, I'm when I mean dieting, I mean for a better healthy eating reasons and stuff like that. So I think that's something I probably want to explore. I've never really tried anything super serious unless I really, really had to. So I think that might be another kind of like latent resolution.
Yeah, that's something I want to do too because I actually want to take up. I mean, obviously everybody knows how to cook. Are they great at it? Probably that's up to the person. For me, I'm very, very basic with cooking. I want to get better because
Same,
now that my
same.
grandma's out of her house, she wants to visit more. I'm like, I'm gonna if she comes over more often, stays, a week or two, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
utilize her because she, in my opinion, she's a good cook, and I want to learn how to cook from her and get better. So I can make stuff myself, make different things.
Mm-hmm.
Man, my back is hurting.
Uh-oh.
I
Here we
actually
come,
got a
working
cramp in my
out.
back.
He's creating the excuses already,
No,
folks. He's creating the
no,
excuses
it's
already.
actually what up. So first, I'm going to go back to the food, and then I'll go back to what I was going to say earlier. So I want to learn how to cook, get better at that.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I think it's fun. I think it's cool. I watch cooking shows a lot, so I just want to participate in that.
So I don't watch cooking shows. I don't think I have a desire to. However, I might steal that as well. I don't have a grandma to help me out, but like I was cooking. What was it like last week or earlier this week? I can't even remember now. I'm losing track of days. But now, for the first time ever, I have an electric stove, and let me just say, I fucking hate it. I don't know if it's because I'm just so used to gas stoves, but like, I don't like it.
You're not the only one. I've had an electric stove. It sucks. It doesn't feel the same,
Okay.
and it
Okay.
also
So
burns things differently, or it cooks things differently.
yeah. So like, oh man, I don't know. It just irks me.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's definitely a preference thing because also I mean, it's a very minor taste difference, but also stove gives you a little bit of a different taste because of that gas reason.
Hmm.
But no,
It's like
I
cooking on
definitely
the
feel
it's like cooking on the grill, man. You got to get that
yeah, but you don't get the
that little
charcoal
taste of
taste.
gas. So so yeah, no, that's cool. But we'll see how things go through.
But I think
And
another reason. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. No, no,
I was gonna say another reason why I want to work out is because I also want to travel more and I want to do more exploration activities like hiking. In a weird way, I kind of want to do gymnastics, not because of doing hardcore parkour stuff, but for more how do you say it, decompression. Like, because apparently like gymnastics are very like how do you say it? I want to say movable, but they're very flexible. That's what I'm saying, flexible. And I think I need more flexibility in myself.
So why not yoga?
Yoga to me seems too stationary, and I want something with movement. Not that yoga's bad. It's just I want to do a little bit more, something that involves more movement than
Oh,
yoga. Because yoga
you
is
had.
difficult with like scorpion pose and all that
Oh,
stuff.
yes, it is.
Takes a
Yes.
lot. It takes a lot of
Oh
strength to
yeah.
do certain things.
Oh,
It's just
100%.
not my thing.
But you don't also like. I mean, because I tried / done it years ago, um, and that's why you don't really go directly to those poses. I mean, you do like beginner stuff because
Doggy
you don't
style. Wait,
go
no, downward dog.
yeah downward dog, but you don't go 0 to 60 with that. Like you
Yeah.
have to slowly build that flexibility. Um, no, I mean that sounds cool. Trying to think of what else. You know what? Talking about the working out again part. I don't know where I would do this. Um, Another one that I always wanted to get really good at, and when I first started, I sucked real bad, and I mean real bad. But then I started noticing I started getting better, and that's skip rope jumping. I feel like because when it comes to cardio, I hate running. I hate running. It's so boring to me. Just like you said, like yoga is too stationary. Like for me, running is just too boring. Even with headphones and music, don't like it. Bicycling, I like. Just don't have a bike either. But I'm actually near some nice paths now. So maybe that could be a change I could do too, is actually get a bicycle. But skip rope jumping, I think, is really cool because, well, it looks cool. When you're doing it, if you could do it right and do it good, skip rope jumping just looks cool.
It's
So
also good for footwork too.
it's fantastic for cardio. Much like jumping jacks, it also helps with the man boobs.
Well, well, you
So
like basketball and volleyball, so jump
yes.
roping will help your footwork in those games.
Well, I don't play them anymore, but you're not wrong. So yeah, I mean, as we're
Wait,
talking now it's kind of like giving me more ideas, but
how does
what?
how does jump roping help with man boobs? Wouldn't that make it worse because you're jumping, causing more stress on this area, causing it to
No, it's
stretch?
supposed to actually like make them firmer, supposedly.
I want mine to grow.
You want to grow? Well, there's pills for that, sir. But so as we do every week, we kind of briefly talk about games and what we're playing on. You mentioned you just picked up new games, so you probably haven't had the time to indulge in any of them yet, right?
Besides slight bathroom breaks playing games with the PS Vita, I
Oh,
played. I'm replaying The Walking Dead, the Telltale one. I've only played maybe like an hour or two, not too much. But now that I'm free, hopefully I can go through it myself, like Sonic Frontiers, finish The Walking Dead. Um, I'll play more Modern Warfare 2, Destiny, and Ghostwire Tokyo. So, but yeah, so far it's just The Walking Dead. That's all I played this week. Yeah.
cool, cool.
What about you?
Yeah, put in I don't know how many more hours, but I did put more time into Crisis Core. I still haven't finished it yet, but I have done a few more chapters, um, and of course, WoW. Um, and I was doing some cleaning up today, and I came across some items that got me excited.
Uh
Did you sorry? No, so I'm going to show the video, but then I'll briefly talk about it. But I came across some old memory cards, two PS2s and one PS1. And I'm like, okay, I need to know what I have on these.
oh.
So I am excited to. I don't own a PS2, unfortunately. So I reached out to one friend already that does have one. I was actually going to ask you as well if you still had one.
I
And
do.
maybe we
It's
could.
just not set up.
Okay, or maybe I could just borrow it or something if it's not set up. But the reason why I'm excited here is because, and I once again I forget what I do, what we talk and do not talk about on this podcast. Sometimes it's been 18 episodes. Um, what I'm really excited and hope to find on one or multiple of these are my wrestling game saves. Remember I was telling you how they have the create a wrestler contents and stuff.
Yes.
And if I still have them, I will take the time to get all that information and probably republicize them on the internet. Because that's how confident and how much I really enjoyed doing that type of content. Well, content before content creators were even a thing. I mean, this is back in what fuck? No, not the 90s, maybe early 2000s. So yeah, so this actually got me excited. I found these and I'm like, this could be. I mean, could be. It's all good. It can't be bad, but unless they're not on there, then they're lost forever. But that could be a nice little side hobby for me, just to dig that stuff back up and then sit there and write down all the creative information to create the wrestler and all that stuff. So yeah, it got me excited.
That'd be cool. I actually did that, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. because I found. I'm not sure if you remember this, but there was a company called Mad Cats, I believe it was called,
Yes,
and
of
they made a
course.
whole bunch of like extra accessories.
Hmm.
And they made one that had like 64 megabytes, whatever, which is pretty big at the time for saving. And I checked the storage on it. I forgot how much of a psycho I was in video games. I had a whole bunch of like Metal Gear save files on there, Resident Evil. I had over, I think, 80 save files for Kingdom Hearts 2. All of them
Damn.
100% completed.
Did you just like copy them?
No, I'm telling you, Kingdom Hearts 2 I played over probably 50 times because me and my cousin played it a lot and we didn't play a lot of games, so we just replayed the game over and over and over again. So
Jeez.
we all had, when I looked at the save files, all 100% completed, all keyblades, everything, and it was just done. I also had another memory card that had almost 100 save files of Ratchet and Clank 1, 2, and 3, like all different ones, all 100% completed, and a lot of other stuff. So I was like, geez, I played a lot of the same games and kept on replaying instead of continuing the file.
So you may break my heart with this answer, but when I found these, it made me think though. Are these battery operated? Like, will they eventually die and lose its data after a certain period of time?
Oh, I have no idea.
Okay, because I know like
I
Game
know.
Boy games and stuff have little batteries in them that retain the save data. And once it goes, there goes your data.
I think because that's also a chip, you could probably
It's just a chip.
yeah, but I know those chips can definitely erode over time. I've had some of
Yeah,
those erode.
yeah. They look okay from my vantage point, but inside you never know. So yeah, that was the one thing I was curious about. Oh, and then the other thing is, um, so these are PS2 and PS1s, right? Is there a way to, I guess, put it in the two and then like cloud it to put it on a three that's backward compatible?
Probably. I don't know. I've never done that.
Okay. Okay.
I'm assuming so because, but you'd have to get a PS3 that has the backwards compatibility. There's
True.
not a lot of them that do,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure there's probably a way because they probably have like an insert slot. But I
Yeah.
definitely know the PS1 memory sticks can go into PS2.
Oh yeah. That much I do know. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay.
my
Just
question
just
is,
curious.
have you ever played a game called MLB Slugfest?
I do not think I've played that one.
It's the best baseball game in history. Facts, no opinions.
No, 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 no.
Okay.
Best one in history was Ken Griffey Jr.'s baseball on the N64 game set match.
Look at MLB Slugfest, and then your opinions will change.
All
Concrete,
right,
100%. No,
all
no,
right,
no debate.
all right, all right. We'll see
But
about that.
no,
But
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool that you found those.
yeah, so that's all I got for my gaming of the week. My weekly wrap up.
Yeah, I mean, dude, for a game. Well, this year for me, games. Instead of just playing modern games, I've gone back to retro stuff,
Hmm.
and I I forget how much I enjoyed older games, and I think it's also a time where you start expanding your gaming repertoire, in my opinion, because like I played SNES games, I played NES games, 64 games, and as much as I like those games, I realized that my true love for gaming didn't really take off until the PS3.
Interesting.
Because I looked at all those when I go to like back in the game, the retro store, I look at the wide selection of games. Obviously, there's games on those other systems I love, but it seems like 360, PS3, almost every single game there is just always fun for me. Even now, it's still like I could play it, not get um tired of it, or look at it as like, oh, it's too old. I need to go more modern.
Yeah, no, for me it's always has been and this will never change. It's been Super NES, Super Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo obviously I played as well, but um, I think the SNES is the one that really propelled me and made me the man I am today. Um, I mean, I even had dare I will say I guess luxury of even being able to play Atari and ColecoVision. Um, but my memories of those systems aren't as great as even the NES and then obviously the Super Nintendo. Um, so yeah, that one's Super Nintendo has a very, very, very special place in my heart.
Yeah, the Super Nintendo is what got me into platformers because my first platformer was actually on the SNES and it was the Aladdin game.
Yes, that was a great game. Still a great game.
And then I got into Kirby and all the other nonsense.
So, you ready to hit up topic one? Or you got anything
Uh,
else to bring up?
no, besides, just working out and all that stuff, I think New Year's wise, if I was going for content, it's
Yeah,
just, network with more people, get better with editing because I suck. And also, I don't have whatchamacallit, a will to do it. And I think I want to change that about myself is get better at editing for the sake of people watching.
gotcha.
But we can move on
Cool.
to number one.
But
If
right
not,
before
things
we
will
do
change.
move on to topic one, those that are listening, feel free to drop your resolutions and all the games you've been checking out
Oh,
lately.
you
Oh,
just
wait.
reminded me. I forgot to bring it up. I know we talked about beforehand, but how would you feel? Obviously, we're talking about resolutions, but how would you feel where we do something new? I don't know when it will be, but it's a month-long thing. Anybody can join, but it's mostly between me and you where we update our progress. It's by either cutting something out of our lives for a month and seeing how we do, or learning something new, or continuing something that we should be continuing. How do you feel about that? And are you interested in what should we call it if we do?
Interested? Yes. Call it. Don't know yet. And all those elements, I don't know what the um, choices or whatever, or what I would do, what it would be. But yeah, no, I'm totally game.
Because I
100%.
want to challenge myself, and I think the reason why I want to challenge myself is obviously if I do it, it has like I could keep myself going if it's something that I personally want to do, but if it's something where I'm like maybe on, it's better if you have somebody to motivate you. Because like
Hmm.
I kind of want to learn different languages,
Hmm.
and I know that's a very very time consuming thing. So maybe if I get into it for a month and I stay with that for a month, maybe it might keep me going, continuing to learn that language, or maybe something else might pop up. But I just thought about it. I'm like, maybe it's something you and I could do a weekly update, and then maybe other people might be interested in tagging along.
Yeah, no, sounds cool.
All right, cool. Let's move on to topic number one: best earning media of the year. So originally this was going to be like four topics, but I mashed them all into one.
Okay.
So Avatar 2, I'm a huge fan of. Seen it a couple weeks ago when it before it released. I thought it was fantastic, and because of how much I loved it, I wanted to keep major updates on it to see if it was successful. And without a doubt, it is. I think they made the movie for like 475 million dollars, and the first week alone it's doubled that money. I think now it's at 1.29 billion dollars in like the first 3 weeks or 14 days, whatever, which is a lot of money, a lot of money in 2 weeks. Which the highest earning movie of this year is Top Gun Maverick, and that was in theaters for like 7 months, and that's only made like 4.9 billion. So the fact that Avatar 2 caught up in just
Only.
yeah. So the fact that Avatar 2 caught up in 2 weeks compared to 7 months of being, in theater is a huge deal, in my opinion. And it seems to be, well, obviously they're only halfway there, but it seems like it's on the fast track to potentially taking its original record at 2.9 billion with Avatar 1.
Yeah, I felt like it was inevitable. Whether or not it breaks those records is, remains to be seen, right? It's a whole nother story. But just the success of it making its money back or breaking even, like that was a no-brainer. It was obviously going to do that and surpass that. So, this individual is not surprised. Um, but but yeah, like I mean, outside of that one, what be and then you mentioned Top Gun, like what other medias have been really successful this year?
So before I move on to that,
Oh,
well,
okay.
I guess I could talk about it. But so Top Gun Maverick right now is at 1.49 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Avatar's 2 second with 1.18 billion. Jurassic World Dominion, which I'm shocked about. I thought that was a flop. Hit 1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange 2 hit 959 million, or sorry, 956 million. Minions 2
Mm-hmm.
has 939 million. Black Panther 2 at number 6 is at 807 million. At number 7 is The Batman at 771 million, and at number 8 it's Thor: Love and Thunder at 761 million.
Mm-hmm.
So big year for Disney.
Yeah, well, when Disney controls X amount of the market, they better have a big year.
Yeah.
um, yeah, like I mean, those are really good numbers, and it was once again, basically kind of coming out of COVID. It was expected. A lot of people want to get out, get back into theaters, get back to a lot of different entertainment venues. Um, Man, I don't know, like how much. Like I don't know if part of this is also to talk about next year, or if we're eventually going to get there anyway. Um, but it makes me wonder what's going to rival that. Going back to Jurassic World for a second there, like I still haven't seen it myself, and I definitely do because I've watched them all. I can't remember why I missed going to the theaters to see it, but I didn't, and I kind of definitely felt like that was one that kind of needed to see, but didn't. So I still need to watch that one. And I know you said when you say flop, do you mean flop at the box office flop, even though it made $1 billion, or you're just saying flop because you didn't like it?
So I haven't watched it. I
Okay, you
thought I
haven't watched
heard that it
it.
was a disappointment. That's what I heard, that people didn't like it. Like the ratings weren't doing so well. But I meant the fact that it's number 3 with 1 billion is, I mean, even if it's considered not good, I mean that's still a
It
success in
made
their
its,
book.
it made its money. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's been many movies in past that were rated bad but still made tons of money. Um, yeah. As far as flop, I don't vividly recall the ratings or the rating. Well, yeah, I guess ratings too and reviews about that being so negative. Um, but everyone's a critic, right? So all I know is that I will see it at some point. Like, despite that information, it's not going to deter me. I just haven't got around to it yet. So I will soon. I wonder if it's on. No, that wouldn't be an HBO Max. I did see um, Black Adam now. I think is on HBO Max. So
That was surprisingly good. I didn't think I was going to
I
enjoy
might.
Black Adam as much as I
Yeah,
did.
yeah. Okay. Might need to check that out yet since I still have HBO Max. Um, but yeah. Is there anything on there that maybe shocked you that wasn't on there?
Uh, on that list, no. What I am shocked
Oh
about,
no,
so
no. I'm sorry. Is there anything that maybe should have been on it? That
I'm
came out this.
surprised the Matrix Resurrection wasn't on there because that came
Oh,
out
okay.
on New Year's
Hmm.
and apparently didn't do well at all. I liked Matrix Resurrection. I thought it was a good sequel to the original trilogy, but apparently a lot of
Hmm.
people hate it.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, the list that they have on there, I wasn't surprised about. Like they all did
Yeah.
fantastic.
I mean, usually, obviously, all the superhero ones are going to do. They're going to make their money. So those are no. I thought the Minions one was a little surprising, if I'm being
Oh, dude,
honest. I
Minions was
mean,
fantastic. Minions always does
like,
great. Despicable Me, Minions, all that stuff. It's great.
well, I mean, I know they do great, but like, I didn't expect it to be amongst like all those Goliaths, so to speak. So
Yeah. So I just brought up Jurassic World. I looked on all the stuff. I'm just using Rotten Tomatoes as a
yeah,
specter, but it seems like
that's
overall, um, critics are giving it really bad scores, with Rotten Tomato being 29%. Other stuff is like 3.2 whatever out of
uh-huh.
5. But audience score is at 77, which is still relatively low, but I guess it's better than 50.
Yeah.
um, but going back to, so I think the reason why I'm shocked with this, like I said, I thought I heard a lot of stuff being a flop, but maybe that's just by critics' reviews. So I
Hmm.
guess that's working. But the one thing I want to wait, hold on, can I do it here? Let's see, Avatar 2, because I think I remember this correctly. Where is it? Okay, so going back to Avatar 2, as like I thought it was gonna be successful, which it is. I keep hearing this weird polarizing like review on it. Like so far the majority of people think it's fantastic, it's amazing, best movie of the year for sure. Um, but it seems like if people hate it, it's not like a 3-star, 2-star. It's always 1-star, worst movie ever made.
Mm.
But it's like if you're there's like two sides here. It's like you either love it and it's 5 stars, or you hate it and it's 1 stars. There's like no in between. And
Mm.
I think that's the weirdest thing because I'm looking at the tomato score right now. Critics are looking at 78%, and the audience score is at 92%.
Mm.
But if you look at certain reviews, it's always like 1 star, I hate this, worst movie ever made. I can't believe people like this stuff.
Mhm.
And it's just weird how there's like no in between. It's either you're fantastic, all in for it, you want more, or you absolutely despise the movie. It's the worst thing ever created.
So outside of the movie IP, what else do they do with that IP? Like, is there video games against Avatar?
So there is one video game they released in 2009 for the first one. Um, it was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. But there is a new one coming out very soon. It's called Avatar: New Frontiers or whatever. I have no idea what that's about because it hasn't come out yet. But there is two video games. There's probably an attraction at some point. I don't know if it's at Disney or somewhere else. But I know that the movie is the main seller.
Hmm. And they don't do like anime spin-offs
No.
or anything that man too.
And
No. So
entertainment, like media wise, it's just the movies.
it's just the
But they
movies.
definitely sell toys and all that stuff.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, no, definitely gonna have action figures and whatnot.
But yeah, media, it's
Okay,
just the
because it made
movies.
me wonder. Because like that's all I knew of it too, and it just didn't know if they explored other ventures.
I'm
Um,
surprised I mean, maybe depending on
would
how
that
the second game works, maybe they might do
uh,
more. We'll see.
would that be a successful MMO type of game?
See, in my opinion, obviously it might be because it's a massive world. You could turn anything into an MMO if you really want to. I think that Avatar is only good from a movie format, and anything else will be a flop because I think it's hard to. Because really, the best selling point about Avatar is the story, in my opinion, is good, but it's the visuals of the movies that really drives it forward, and you don't get that same effect in any other form. I think that's the
So
flop of it.
if it's visuals, then visual heavy. I know we talked about virtual reality stuff.
I don't think we're at
Do
that point where they can mimic it.
Okay.
Like they tried. I don't know. Like I said, depending on how the second game is, they might
Mhm.
be able to do it. But so far, I don't see it succeeding. Like this new game, I'll probably play it. Will I pre-order it? No. Will it be good? My prediction is most likely not. But we'll see.
So staying on a topic, but also looking towards next year. Where do you think the Super Mario Bros. Movie will make more than Minions 2 did? Or whatever, I don't know if it's 2, but whatever the Minions one was.
I think it's gonna be on one of the top trending lists, but it'll probably be at like number 8 or 7 if it's lucky.
I'm not talking about rank. I'm just putting it up against Despicable Me.
Oh,
Will it make more?
that's a hard one to say, man. I think they're probably gonna both be even.
You think it's going to be about even?
Yeah, because a lot of people love Minions. I love Minions. And Mario, if it's really good, they could probably hit that rank, but if they don't hit that mark, they'll be below Minions.
How much was that? How much was that value again? The Minions one? Give it to me
Um,
again.
hold on, I would have to look it up because I had the chart up. Minions made 939 million.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's a
Minions
lot.
also had see the reason why I think that Mario won't do is because this is gonna be Mario's first movie, while
Mm-hmm.
Minions had multiple movies to build upon itself and get made the expectation of family love. You know they're gonna do it well. But Minions is also made by Illumination, so that might give Mario the benefit
Yeah.
of having them work on their movie.
Uh huh.
I don't know, but I feel like
Yeah.
this Minions 2 has more kids interested in it than Mario does at this point.
That aspect is true, but you always never underestimate adult kids.
I'm not
And
like I said. I think it's gonna be
and
successful. I just don't know if it's gonna be Minions 2
Mario
successful.
has the rich history of being a generational. It bleeds through multiple generations.
Oh, for sure.
So I think, but that's still a lot of money. Like I don't want to prophesize and say it's going to beat it because that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That would be a good bet. Like in Vegas, like seriously. like I wonder what kind of like I'm not a gambler by much, but that one sounds like a fun little wager. Like, will it bank more than what that made this year?
All right, let's do it between
Okay,
us.
okay. If you were gonna put like $100 on, you would say no.
I'm gonna say no. Oh, wait, so I'm gonna say it's gonna be successful, but it's not gonna be
Well,
Minions 2.
we know it's gonna be successful. We know it's probably gonna make more money than they spent on the movie. I think that one's
Yeah.
probably hands out. but just because it is coming from Illumination, same studio, I think that's the bar, right? Like, let's
Yeah.
compare the two. Will it make more than that?
I don't think it's going to beat Minions 2.
So you would bet the under. I think
Yes.
I would. It would be a risk wager. I will admit that, but I think I would bet the over just for that simple fact because it probably had better odds.
So are we going to give it the benefit of it lasting the whole year and then 2023 review it again? Because I feel like Minions 2 came out really early on in the year, so it had that much time to build upon itself,
what
money
month?
wise.
What month is coming? Because remember, Mario ain't coming out to April.
Yeah, so it's about to
So,
run at the same time. So we're gonna give it from April to the end of 2023 to
oh
show
yeah,
what
you
the
would have
final.
to.
Okay,
Yeah, you'd have
I
to.
just wanted to make sure.
So, oh, here's another question because the topic says earnings, right? For those movies that are out of theaters, does that incorporate their DVD sales and streaming sales and everything?
No, I should have said the worldwide box office.
Just
Maybe
the
I should have.
box office.
Well, this is just for the worldwide box office.
Okay, no, it's fine. I'm just, for clarification purposes. Okay. Still, damn, that is a lot of money.
Yeah,
Wow.
it'd be
Okay,
funny if
so
we look at this next year and Mario makes 938 million, being 1 million short.
oh, damn. Man, that's gonna be interesting. Because like who voices minions? Like they don't have like A-list actors voicing minions, right? So Mario has that added benefit, right? It's gonna get extra media coverage and push because of their actors as well. It's obviously Mario. It should have also a larger presence in overseas, right? In Japan especially. Man, that alone to me is very interesting.
According to this, Minions is voiced by Pierre Coffin. I don't know who that is, but he does all the voices, and the Minions language is also made up of 4 different languages.
Gotcha. So, kind of to dare I say validate my point, and I'm not poo-pooing on that individual, but Mario has actors, right? So they're all gonna be supportive and trying to push it. But as we discussed before, there's going to be there already is pushback because of who's on it and da da da. But I don't think that's deterring those people from seeing the movie. I really don't. No one's really boycotting it.
I don't think the actors in this case are the driving force in who's seeing it. I think that the driving force is the character itself, Mario being the driving force. I don't think people really care who's voice acting it at this point. I think they just want to see Mario.
Yeah, and I concur, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think you're gonna see a lot of adults flock. You're gonna see a lot of adults force their kids to go see it as well.
I think we're
and
gonna have like a Detective Pikachu case where it's gonna do well, but unfortunately, because of nostalgic reasons, no one else besides them are gonna see it, and I think that's the reason why it won't be beating Minions 2, because everyone wants to see
Gotcha.
Minions besides just the people that want to, that watch the series.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see how that ends up.
We'll come back to this next year.
We'll come back to this next year. I mean, obviously, after like the first week or two of its release, you'll probably have a better gauge. I wonder what Minions did its first week or two. But
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know.
yeah. No, we don't have to look it up. I was just
Well,
curious.
actually,
Like
hold on.
kind of like a benchmark,
If I was to give you the benefit of the doubt, like how this would work,
Mm-hmm.
this is the worldwide box office, so this means other countries too.
Correct.
If I was judging it from just the American standpoint, it probably wouldn't do the greatest. But because it's also gonna be in like China, Asia, but basically all the Asian countries, that's where the biggest money is gonna come in from
Mm-hmm.
those. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe, who knows? Maybe because of that reason, they'll probably be
No,
better than Minions too.
yeah. Well, I still don't want to say better. I mean, that's a lot of money. Like,
Yeah.
I like that's what I'm saying. That shocks me. I mean, I know it's popular. I didn't think it was that popular.
I didn't think it was
So,
that popular either.
yeah. So like that's I mean, obviously good for them, and I guess maybe that's why Nintendo chose Illumination because they see how much money they make.
Yeah.
So and we all concur that the Mario trailers that they released look unbelievable. Like
Oh,
they look
yeah.
fantastic. So That was gonna be an interesting one. I think as without this topic, we were obviously going to talk about the Mario movie again, but this now gives it another layer, so we could compare it to. But also going into next year, like I know we discussed, or I mentioned it to you before, like could uh, Indiana Jones be the equivalent of Maverick of this year? And you really disagree with that notion.
I think it's gonna be successful, but not to Top Gun
Yeah,
point.
not yeah, and I think I agree with you as well on that. Like, but it'll be interesting to see how that one does. Trying to think of other comps for next year that kind of mirror. I don't think there's any comp for Avatar. I'll blatantly say that. I don't think anything coming out next year is remotely close to Avatar. So
Yeah.
they're on a stratosphere of their own. That's for sure. See what else? Well, obviously superhero movies. Superhero movies are going to comp superhero movies. So
Yeah.
What else? What else was on that list? That was kind of not really a shocker, but not superhero. I think all the rest were superheroes, right?
So I'm looking forward to a couple movies next year. I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer by Christopher Nolan. That's about the atomic bomb, nuclear bomb from World War II. Its creation. Okay. That looks fantastic to me. Also, one that I think might be the next Top Gun of next year is Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. It's another Tom Cruise movie, and supposedly, Dead Reckoning 1 and 2. Well, both of them are the final Mission Impossible movies. So I think it's going to build on top of itself, like an end game level for Avengers. So I think that's where it's going to be the next Top Gun, because it's expected to be the final one, or at least the final 2-part one, whatever.
Gotcha.
So I'm looking forward to those that are not superhero movies.
Gotcha.
But one thing I was surprised about this year, so I was watching Lord of the Rings of Power, and I was saying how I don't think it's going to be successful. According to Amazon, they made over $2 billion. So that means it is successful. Wow. I don't know if that's true, because there's from what I've checked, there's been no official reporting on this except from what Amazon says they did, because it's a streaming thing.
So it's kind of hard to believe.
Yeah. So how true is it? I do not know. But according to them, they did make a profit and they doubled their money. That's what they said.
That'd be very, very interesting. I don't know how you really come up with those figures, because it's only based on subscriptions.
Well, it's also based upon ads and watch time and all that stuff, and how many people watch that.
Gotcha.
But if it's true, I'm excited, because the Rings of Power was set to be a 5-season thing, and nothing more. And I thought it was good, because you see the start of Gandalf. You also see Sauron's face, which in my opinion was kind of like the worst part, because they did Sauron weird. But you see him, you see a whole bunch of other stuff, and I thought it was good. I was happy to see that. And also, House of Dragons, or House of the Dragon, is officially the most pirated show of 2022.
Wow. I didn't know I know piracy still exists, but like to that extent.
Yeah, which is really, I try to, obviously I understand people have their, situations where they can't really do what they need to do, but I feel like because a lot of people pirated House of the Dragon, the amount of money it still made a lot of money, but I feel like it would have made more money if it wasn't so pirated. Because it was also a really successful show, but I wonder how much more successful would have been
and actually stupid successful, because like every episode increased viewers, and remember we talked about this.
They broke viewership records. Yeah, it was basically between House of the Dragons and Lord of the Rings. They were both fighting each other with the highest viewership count.
Yeah, that was just unbelievable. And now to know that they could have had
more.
Like that's crazy. Rewinding back to this year versus next year, I don't know if you think this is a good comp. So, Jurassic World versus Transformers.
Oh, well, okay. Maybe this is just my preference. I'm more interested in Transformers than I am Jurassic World. So are you asking me if I think it's gonna win or how it will
Yeah,
do box office wise?
no, I'm pitting them against each other. Just the same thing like Mario and Despicable Me. Like I don't know. I like this. I like this kind of topic. Doing this.
In my opinion, Transformers is better, but
Well, no.
viewership wise,
Yes,
probably
money,
Jurassic World might be
Bernie.
better.
Yeah, I think I concur with that assessment. Do you think
Only
it
because of
gets?
the longer franchise history.
Yeah. Do you think it gets remotely close? Does it get
Oh
half?
yeah,
Oh,
it,
okay,
it'll probably either match it or a little under. Like if you're talking about box office wise.
gotcha. Let me throw a third one in there. Let's make it a three-way dance. Uh, Fast and the Furious 10.
See, now this movie doesn't deserve any success it gets, but it's most likely gonna be successful. Will it make
Yeah.
top 10? Probably not, but it's probably gonna make a lot of money for dumb reasons.
Would you put it with? Would you throw them in that dance, or you don't think that that one should be in that dance?
Oh, Jurassic World and Transformers just they body Fast and Furious.
Okay, okay. I feel like that. Like I've never watched any of the Fast.
You haven't?
None of them. None of never watched any of them.
I hate to say I've watched all of them.
Yeah, I've never watched any of them.
The first
Beginning to
three were
end.
good.
There's a couple that I've seen bits and pieces of, and there's particularly one movie that I've seen a lot of, but not beginning to end, and I could not tell you which one it was.
I wonder
But
if you know me. I might live in Tokyo. Fast and Furious.
but it just doesn't appeal to me. Maybe it's because I'm not a car person, but
I'm not
then
a car person either.
but then they just turn into action flicks anyway. So but to your point, and one thing I do know is they're obviously extremely popular. Otherwise, they wouldn't be at number 10. But is that one supposed to be their last one too? But then they probably said that like 5 times already.
Honestly, at this point, they just keep adding. Vin Diesel doesn't want to lose his money, maker.
It's pretty much his only one now, right?
Yeah. So I honestly have no idea. I mean, people are definitely gonna watch it because Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Will it do as good as Transformers? I'm gonna say confidently no, but it'll probably be successful still.
hmm Yeah.
Um,
I mean, like,
and if
once
it's the
again,
last one,
I
I
feel
don't know.
like all the ones we've mentioned, they're gonna make their money. It's just like I'm what I'm trying to do here is just pin them against each other and who wins.
Oh yeah, if we're talking
Yeah.
about all three, yeah, Fast and Furious is like definitely bottom on
Gotcha.
every
I,
aspect.
I concur. I do wonder if it could be like that wild card that just surprises everybody though.
I mean, if it's the final one, maybe it might do something, but if it's not the final one, then they'll just make its money and move on. Yeah, because I think it's had its time in the sun. I think it's starting to die down more and more. Because, like, in my opinion, I've watched all of them. The first three, in my opinion, are the best ones. The third one was the best, in my opinion. I know other people say otherwise. But after 7, it seems like it's been kind of going down. Because after Paul Walker died, I think people are like, I don't know if it's that good.
Mm-hmm. And then
Hobbs
they
and
got
Shaw was the exception on that one.
and then they got the sympathy boost, I
Yeah.
guess. I mean, I don't mean to say that like
No, they did.
negatively, but it did.
Yeah.
Let's be real. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I didn't get out to see enough this year. Talking about resolutions, maybe do a better job next year. And yeah, see what
Yeah.
happens.
So now we talked about the best earning ones.
Yes.
We won't talk about this too much because I know you're probably gonna see it. But I watched Witcher Blood Origins,
Yeah, I still didn't watch it.
and it's 4 episodes. I still recommend watching if you're a Witcher fan. But in my opinion, it's not good, and I think that's heavily due to the fact that the cast is not the greatest, which is very unfortunate in my opinion because I can't remember her name. She's the Asian lady, and the reason why I watched this is because of her. Because I loved her in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Iron Monkey, Everything Everywhere at Once. I think she's a great actress, but none of them fit the show,
Mm.
and it was boring in my opinion. Even though they showed Zintra, the city, the elf city, whatever, and they showed some cool shots. It's just 4 episodes. It just doesn't drag you into the show. It's just a nice little origin story, and then you move on. Nothing to talk about. It's just they did it for like a cash grab, in my opinion.
Mm. So I know, like, we did talk about it in an early episode, and we didn't really know what. I think it was when the trailer dropped, right? And we didn't really know what to think of it, and they didn't really give too much. They didn't really tease it that great. And I remember one of, dare I say, one of my complaints was like a lot of the scenes looked very open and like they didn't put a lot of money into it. Um, I don't want you to spoil it for me because, like to your point, I eventually do want to check it out. And it could be done very quickly since it's only 4 episodes. One of the remarks you made that time was that you think their idea is to create more of these to kind of be fillers to support the main show. So
Hmm.
with that said, was did they accomplish that? And do you think that is exactly what they're doing?
So I think
Mm-hmm.
another reason why this failed is because it's meant to add on to the story, which is the
Mm-hmm.
creation of the Witcher. That's why it's
Mm-hmm.
called Blood Origin Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but they also tried too hard to make these non-important characters important by making them have their own show. And I think
Mm-hmm.
they kind of lost sight on why they created this. It was supposed to highlight The Witcher, but
Mm-hmm.
instead they made it more about the characters and the actual creation of the Witchers.
Interesting. Yeah.
And
Okay.
also they kind of forgot, about the L. Well, I can't really talk too much more about spoiling it,
Yeah.
but to me
So
it's just
and
they
don't.
lost sight of what they were supposed to do, and I think that's
Gotcha.
what
So
turned
in
people
other
off.
words, based on your remark, it wasn't accomplished.
No,
Okay.
I
Perfect.
watched the whole thing and
And
I
I'll
thought it
still
was
watch
okay.
it, but like
Yeah.
wanted to get your assessment on it.
Like I
Okay.
said, if you're a Witcher fan, you should definitely watch it because they do give you background information towards things that are going to happen in the future and what's going to happen with Ciri and
Mm-hmm.
how they're going to create the next version.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but character wise, they're just not interesting.
Okay. Cool. Um, do you think this? I don't know if you consider it a spinoff, but it is, I guess. Do you think that had any implications on Cavill's um, departure, or was it strictly him in the actual Witcher show?
That's just him in
Or do
that.
you, or do you, or do you think this is also part of that direction that might have gotten him a
Oh, if you're
little?
talking about like story wise and how they're building,
Yeah,
honestly, it's hard to tell because I'm not a part of that. I'm gonna assume
yeah,
seeing that maybe it's one of the reasons because they
yeah.
kind of like I said, they tried too hard to focus on characters that don't need to be focused on instead of the origin of what they're trying
Uh-huh,
to highlight.
uh-huh.
So like I said, I think they're losing sight of what The Witcher's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe it is part of the reason why he's leaving, but I honestly can't say for certain.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't expect you to know for certain. You're not there on set or
Yeah,
anything and hearing, banter. I was just, just getting your opinion if you think it maybe could have had implications. Um,
possibly. Yeah.
but no, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, I'll still have to check it out. Um, like you said, it's only 4 episodes, so um, see what else. What else is on the horizon? Or yeah,
So
does
this,
that last season of Stranger Things come out next year or no?
no, that's
That's
coming out
24.
2024. Yeah.
24. Because I still haven't consumed any of that yet, so I think
Dude, this
I'm
year
gonna
was the
wait.
biggest bait when it came to shows like House of the Dragons. We're also not gonna get until 2024.
Yeah,
Um, speaking of which,
unless
biggest
unless we learn.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Unless we learn more about the spin-offs, because it seems like that one that um, Kit Harington is kind of champion and is getting some traction. I still don't
Well,
think it's ever been officially green lighted yet, but
well, I was actually about to lead into that right now.
okay, okay.
So, continuing with the horrible Warner Brothers news and HBO, they
Uh-huh.
officially shelved the spin-off series.
Really?
It's not canceled. It's just on
Yeah,
hold.
yeah.
So they don't know when they're coming out now.
Both of them, even House of Dragon?
Well, House of the
Season
Dragon
two?
is still going to come out in 2024,
Okay,
but the
gotcha.
other shows that
Yeah,
have
yeah,
not
yeah,
been aired,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're just on pause for now. No one
Well,
knows
I
when they'll
mean,
ever come out.
I think that was still true regardless because
Well, with the
once
Harrington
again,
one, they're planning for 22, like late, like House of Dragon 2023 to give you that filler between House of Dragons.
I don't even think so, dude, because like they haven't even begun. I don't think it's even been green light to say yes, we could start shooting. I think he's still been in discussions on what the fuck the storyline's even gonna be.
I thought they had the storyline already
With
mapped
George R.
out. They
No,
just
no, no, not well. Obviously, we may be reading and consuming different things. I thought there wasn't. Like, I thought he was still trying to get like George R.'s blessing and getting his buy-in so they can basically still pitch it. But I could be wrong.
well,
I could
I
be
think
wrong.
George R. R. Martin is going to have another get out of jail free card because he's not helping them with that. Because he's officially all in with the books. Winds of Winter, because he's talking about he wants to go on vacation to Greece and all this other stuff. But he says he promises he won't go and do any of that stuff until Winds of Winter's done. So he's not focused on anything else except for the finish version of that book. So he's not doing anything with those shows yet. He's letting HBO take care of that.
That's interesting because he's the one that really wanted, or he's the one that said he wanted Game of Thrones to be a universe much like Star Wars, which I
Yes.
would think would mean or suggest that you would probably want input on what's going to happen, unless he takes the George Lucas approach and kind of like
Hands it off.
sells, yeah.
I
Which
I, I think
I'm not
he's
totally against either, but
I think he's gonna do two things. I think he's gonna give people more creative freedom toward the spinoff because the Kit Harington one is actually supposed to be a sequel for Game of Thrones. Like it's supposed to be the
correct,
continuation leading towards the actual
correct,
creation of the White Walker. They're not
correct,
fully over and all that stuff. Um,
correct.
I think that's why maybe if you see the blessing thing, they're probably gonna see how it works because in my opinion, it should only happen after House of Dragons because it'll be a perfect segue into that. Um,
What did you say? The what thing?
what?
What did you say? The what thing?
I'm trying to think about. Are you talking about?
What did you just say right now? The segue part. Like what pitch was that?
Oh, I'm saying that the Kit Harington is supposed to be a sequel, so it shouldn't actually realistically come out until after House of the Dragon.
Okay. Okay.
Because it will
Gotcha.
segue perfectly from House of Dragon leading into the Kit Harington one continuing the magic, the dragons, the Lord of Fire and all that stuff perfectly into
Gotcha.
his story.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I think another thing, and I guess I can't emphasize more on the I think part, but the other thing with the Kid Harington show is like he didn't want it all to just be him and North of the Wall, even though obviously that's the main premises of it. But I think he also wanted involvement with still like the other Starks,
I,
or
I I think
like
I think the show should definitely be centered around John and Arya because I think both of their stories originally they're supposed to be connected, as how the books are intended. Well, obviously they changed it because apparently John and Arya are supposed to have a love relationship, and that turned out to be different. um, but I think they're both connected because I think John with the White Walkers and then Arya going to these other continents that haven't been explored yet. I think the Lord of Fire is going to connect them somehow with magic, and their events are going to be somehow correlated to each other magic wise. And I think that's how the show should be centered. It's around those two characters doing their own journeys, eventually coming back together somehow.
Mhm.
I don't care about
Well,
Sansa.
yeah, well, to that point though, I don't remember who or what, but to that point, like I know there was something in order for it all to work and to move forward, like he wanted more involvement from the original actors. What that involvement is or was, I'm not too sure because obviously we don't know what the fuck the story's going to be about. But I believe I do recall reading something like that too, and I don't know if there's any like um that's hard for to get everybody on board or what's going on with that. So, anyways,
Yeah, the only concrete information I knew was after Game of Thrones. I knew that House of Dragons was set in stone, and that was it.
mhm.
Um,
Yeah, no,
this is just
that
speculation
we
and
know.
rumors now.
And it was only they only greenlighted just a second season, right? But I
Well,
know George
it
R. R.
was
wanted four, but three and
no.
four never really got
It,
officially
it's
greenlighted.
so the original inception of House of Dragons is supposed to be a 5-season show, just like Rings of Power. Because yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, what's it called? I forgot what the actual story is. Fire and Blood, is that the story of this?
Uh, sure.
But yeah, like the Fire and Blood story is already
Is he Fire and
finished.
Blood?
I think so.
As the other one's Fire and Ice. Is it called Fire and Blood? Yeah, maybe. Whatever.
Well, if whoever's watching it, if they want to correct me, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But so this story is already finished.
Oh, Josh said that so angrily.
No, I'm saying like if I'm wrong, they people can correct me.
Yeah.
But this story is already finished, so we already know how it's gonna end.
Correct.
So that's why it's set for 5 seasons, because they got to go through each of the arcs, which I'm looking forward to season 3 and 4 the most, because that's where we're gonna see the Starks most likely, and I really want to see their involvement in this war. But yeah, we already know how this is gonna play out. It's already done. And I think after that, maybe season 4 and 5 is when we're gonna start hearing more information about these actual sequels for Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, especially season 2, because I know it's gonna get nasty.
Well, when you say nasty, are you talking about what they're gonna do to certain people, or are you talking about like
Just
war wise?
all the above.
Because I'm
It's
looking for
it's gonna get good.
yeah, like I said, certain scenes I don't know how they're gonna show, because they get very graphic with children, like murdering. That's what I should
Yeah.
say. Because like obviously in season 1, spoiler alert for anybody that's watching, there was a lot of things that they cut out, like especially in the slave pit where the kids are supposed to fight and kill each other. They didn't show that at all. They just showed like a brief moment of it and they passed it on. I don't know how they're going to pass on certain parts of the next part, because it's crucial to the story on how the war evolves.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm interested in how the depiction is going to work.
I'm sure they're gonna fucking push the envelope
You think
as
so?
much as they can. Oh yeah, I think they're gonna want to go for that fucking shock factor.
Because
really
I think season 2, episode 1 is going to leave people's jaw dropped in like how dark it's going to get.
Yeah, I think I don't want to say they don't have a choice, but
I mean, they don't, because it's part of the story. That's how the war starts.
that's what I'm saying. Like I think we're gonna see some very shit that may be unprecedented.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to, and it's gonna, whether or not they get a negative reaction, I don't think they care, because negative, publicity is still publicity. Some cases it's better publicity than positive. Yeah, it's gonna we'll find out in a year and a half. It's gonna, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, dude, I hope that, as much as I shouldn't ask for a bailout for horrible management, but I hope somehow Warner Brothers is able to stay afloat, because, with DC, I want to see more stuff from them. I want to see more stuff from Game of Thrones. Also, with The Last of Us coming out January 15th, I can't wait for that. Obviously, we'll probably talk more about that when that comes out.
Oh
but
yeah,
I'm looking forward to The Last of Us.
Yeah, same here. Even though I've never played the games, and my story with that. Like I said, I started playing the first one, but I only played for like about an hour, and I'm like, I can't play this no more. I just want to watch it. And look what I get! I get a TV show now, so I'm gonna watch it. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully with all this, it'll bail itself out, so it can bring back more money, so they can do more projects that I'm looking forward to. Because right now, a lot of things are canned because of horrible management. I'm hoping that these shows somehow bail them out of that horrible managed water and bring them back on track to greatness.
So The Last of Us actually comes out like what?
In like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It comes out January 15th.
Nice.
I know, because on my calendar.
Yeah, no, that's good. It gives me, I guess, a reason to maintain my subscription. Do you know
The Muffin Man?
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
Muffin Man. I love the Muffin Man. No, I was gonna say, do you know? Is this so far? It's just one season, right? But you have no idea as to, because you've played the games.
Well,
so you have no idea where it's gonna, I guess, end per se with the show.
I know where it's gonna end. I think we can all tell. Well, okay, maybe I shouldn't say that. I'm assuming the season 1 is gonna end with the ending of the first game. Like they're gonna go, they're mirroring each other, and season 2 will probably be picking up with the second game.
Okay, so
that's just my opinion.
Gotcha.
But they could drag it out.
Yeah. Because all we know thus far is it is just signed for one season. I think obviously it's going to do well. It's not going to do probably House of the Dragon well, but I think it's going to do well. Um, so we'll probably know after the first episode whether it gets green light for a second season, because usually that's how it works. Um, so what are your projections? Do you think it's going to happen?
Do I think there's gonna be a second season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a second season, just because story is there for more. I mean, if they don't finish season one with the first game, then they could obviously drag the game one out for multiple seasons if they want to.
Well, no, it has nothing to do with we know the story's there. My question to you is, do you think it'll be successful enough for it to be green lighted for a second season?
This is a good question, because like I'm looking forward to it, but I know that video game fans are very, how do you say, fickle? Is that the word?
No, that's a good word. That's
because
a good word.
like I like Pedro Pascal, and I can't remember the girl's name, the one that's playing Ellie. Obviously, she's from Game of Thrones. She's the one that played the Mormont girl. I think she's amazing too. I think the criticism is going to come down to, is Pedro Pascal and her, Joel and Ellie. I'm going to say no, but I think their version is going to be good enough where it's going to be entertaining.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Because I'm usually very harsh on adaptations. But realistically, casting-wise, there's no one that could fill those roles because it's too hard, because they're digital. But I think human-wise and attitude-wise, those are probably the best choices you can get.
Like, since I don't have, since I have never played the games and don't really know, I'm just really looking at it at a visual standpoint, and I feel like the casting was done well. So that's really the gist of what I know and can see and evaluate. But and I'm only consuming it as a TV show medium. So yeah, those are going to be, I think, very good discussions too in a few weeks.
I think visuals are also probably good too, because they show you a very quick glimpse of the clicker, which is the like the zombies that are kind of like funganized. I'm not sure you call it, but it's fungus. It's a fungus that's mutated them. So you see a clicker, and I think it looks great. The question is, how are they going to do the bloaters? I have a feeling they're going to do well, because if the clickers are good, the bloaters are probably going to be good too. And those are like the big boys, the tanks. So I think they're going to do well visually. It's just, I think the major criticism is probably going to come from the acting of the two characters. Okay. But I think that they have enough talent where they could probably bypass it. And I'm hoping and most likely predicting that it will be greenlighted for season 2, because there's a lot of hype around the show. And thankfully, because the games are set more with realism, that makes it easier for a show to adaptate it into its live action.
Yeah. I mean, I'm saying, yeah, like I played the games because I didn't, but like I feel like, I knew that. but yeah, I'm just liking the tone of the show from what was revealed. Like it just cinematography wise looked really good, dark, and to your point, like the zombie part looked like they were done really well. So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to consume it.
Yeah. I think it's going to be successful. You're just going to hear minor criticisms about the two actors. That's
it. Yeah, you're always. I mean, everything comes with criticism. I mean, even House of Dragon got criticism. Who are we kidding? But
yeah.
All right, cool. Anything else you want to bring up with the?
There's actually a couple things, only because I figured that we talked about some of the best earning stuff. There were some movies I watched this year that shocked me. So I was talking about A24, that they made some of the greatest movies recently. They made a movie called.
Is that the Cocaine Bear studio?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But they made, I think it's called Marcel the Shell or whatever, with boots or whatever. It's some weird movie, and surprisingly, I haven't seen it, but I want to see it now because I've seen it before. I thought it was cute. The ratings of that are basically like 98% audience and critics alike. Like everybody's just loving that movie. But also with the negative side of movie earnings, there's been a couple of massive flops in cinematography recently. Like there's a movie called Babylon, which I think was pretty hyped. I could be wrong. I think it has
a lot of like A-list actors in it, right?
Yeah, Margot Robbie and all that stuff. There's also one called Amsterdam too that flopped pretty hard. They had a bunch of huge actors, but Babylon made about $4 million domestically, which is not a lot and the budget for the
No.
movie was 80 million.
Jeez. Wow.
And apparently there was a lot of movies that were like that where they had pretty decent budgets and only made like $4 to $5 million.
Wow.
So those, it's like, even though 2020, in my opinion, had a huge stack of entertainment, apparently it had a huge stack of flops too.
Yeah.
Like Babylon was the biggest one, because they had an 80 million budget and it had some big people under like Margot Robbie and all that stuff, and only earning 3.5 million domestically.
And they have Bale in it too, right?
I honestly don't remember because I checked the cast like a couple days ago and I kind of forgot.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All I remember seeing was
like,
some figures of it, and I was like, wow, that's a huge.
Yeah, I think it had like a handful of pretty well-known actors.
And there was some decent advertising for it too. That's the shocking part. So it's like they didn't spare any expenses, and the fact that it only made 3.5 million is shocking for an $80 million budget movie.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I was actually shocked at how many massive flops there were this year, like in this large consumerism year as well. I think they're just masked up because of the success that we've seen.
Brad Pitt, Tobey Maguire, Olivia Wilde. Yeah.
Who's in Amsterdam?
Amsterdam? That one I'm not too sure.
Because I think that was another flop.
Oh, that's the one that had Bale in it.
Yeah, that was another flop too.
And she was in it, Margot Robbie. What? Taylor Swift was in it? Anya Taylor-Joy, isn't that the Peach chick?
No.
Rami Malek. Robert De Niro.
Oh, was he? Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of huge names, big flop.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to bring those as shocking disappointments I didn't expect. Because, like you said, they're massive A-list names, and they earned very, very little. And it's just a huge disaster for them.
I guess, you look at the success of a lot of movies, a lot of them are, fantasy related, and those movies are a little bit more, realistic, I guess, is one way of putting it. And I guess it's showing you what, the fans want or what they gravitate to nowadays.
It doesn't matter about the actors, it's the story.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are like that too. Like even though there's certain people I enjoy as actors, if the story isn't there, the movie's not gonna be good. But is there anything you want to add to this, or do you want to move on to the second one?
No, we can move on to the second one. Like I said, I'm sure we're gonna revisit similar conversations like this throughout the year. So.
Oh yeah, like I'm gonna keep tracking Avatar 2, man. I'm rooting for it to break its original record. I don't know why I'm not benefiting from this. It's just because maybe I'm a fan. I just want to see it do well, and I want to see it break its record, which I know is stupid. But moving on to the second one, the reason why I brought this up is because I've been watching some movies recently during the holiday break with the family and all that stuff. And in my opinion, there's not a lot of villains that usually win. Usually it's the heroes that win in the story, but I've watched some where the villains actually somehow win. So this is the reason why I come up with the topic: villains with the best plans. Obviously, when we were talking and bring this up, you probably have some villains that didn't succeed but still had a good plan. But I'll go with mine. I could tell you an honorable mention for me is: have you ever seen the movie Watchmen?
No.
So
Watchmen.
Okay, so Watchmen has a whole bunch of characters from DC. Like you got like alternate version Batman, Dr. Manhattan. Basically different. I forgot what the girl's name is, but basically like a Wonder Woman in there. But there's a hero that also is a villain. His name is Osmandian or Osmodeus, whatever. And the way he plays his villain part is that he's trying to unite the world because the world's on the brink of like nuclear war and they're trying to destroy each other. So what he does is he concocts this plan to unite humanity by making them fear Dr. Manhattan. And during the whole movie, these heroes are fighting each other, trying to point fingers, and eventually they figure out who it is. And they get to Osmandian's lair, Osmodeus' lair. And, obviously, classic monologue, he tells his whole plan and all that stuff, and they're going to stop him. But then at the very end, he says, yeah, while we're talking, I was just buying time, but I launched my attack 30 minutes before you even came here. So basically, while they're there, the world already ended, or sorry, he killed all these people so he could enact his plan, while they're just watching and thinking they could stop him when his plan was already a success. And then of course, like we were talking about Christopher Nolan and how maybe his movies are good only because the villains were good. Joker would be one of them. Like, people think that he was just chaotic and sporadic and all that stuff, but really he was actually meticulous and had a plan. Like, his whole thing was make you look here, while his other motive was make Batman choose between Rachel or Harvey Dent. And then after he lost that bout, he used that same tactic again, and while he was making you think he was attacking all these people, he was really turning Harvey Dent into the villain, making him break his one rule of killing. So in the end, even though the Joker was caught, his motive was successful. So that's, in my opinion, one of the better villain plans. Have you ever seen James Bond? Like Goldfinger?
No, I've never gotten into Bonds.
So usually I've watched the Pierce Brosnan version and the Daniel Craig. I love both of them, but I've also watched some of the older ones recently, like Goldfinger with Oddjob and all that. And I didn't realize that in Goldfinger the villain actually had a really thought out plan, because he has gold, and he originally made the idea that he was going to go into Fort Knox and steal the gold in Fort Knox, and James Bond's like, oh, you can't do that, that's stupid, don't even try, it's dumb. But his real plan was to make the gold radiated, so basically useless because it's full of radiation, and make his gold skyrocket in value. And he succeeded because he decided to make everyone else's gold deposit worthless and make only his valuable. So I thought that was a good plan. Then another one comes with the Christmas movie, Die Hard, Died with a Vengeance. There's a villain in there called Simon, and he basically does the same thing as the Joker. He has a whole bunch of plans. He threatens schools with bombs and all that stuff, but really that's not his motive. He just wants you to look that direction, while he actually attacks a, I think it was like the World Trade Center or whatever, and takes the money from that section and then smuggles it out. And apparently the movie plot was so good that in real life they actually had to reevaluate how the money was stored, because they realized that there was actually a subway connector right there and how this plan could actually be enacted. So they actually had to change their security methods in real life because of how thought out that plan was. So those are the villains I seen that like really made me think, man, these villains had just a fantastic plan. They enacted it, it succeeded. Even if they got caught, their intentions were successful.
Fortunately, I didn't see any of those.
Well, you see the Dark Knight.
So, well, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, that one I did. All the rest of them, I did not. When you shared this topic with me, I was like, "Fuck, I gotta really think of something." Like, and then I started overthinking. I'm like, "All right, stop thinking. Maybe it'll just come to you." And I found it really, like, because I wanted to come up with a really good one, but the one I came up with, and we talk a lot of Game of Thrones, and I couldn't help but to pick Cersei. Because, yeah, I mean, manipulative, political, and a bitch, but but ultimately she kind of still won to a certain degree because she died in the arms of the one she loved and loved her back.
And also she
lost a lot, and part of it was her own damn fault, but in the end she died with the one she loved. And I know I said, like, does it have to be losing effort? And because those are easier to kind of, in my opinion, come across. But then I thought about hers, and you could kind of spin it to where it's like she kind of won in her own right.
No, you're absolutely right, because also during her desperate grasp for power, she also turned Daenerys into a villain at the same time.
Yeah, she did. She, like I said, manipulative, and I mean, a lot of it had to do with money, but doesn't matter. Plan's a plan. You execute it. So yes, that's the one I came up with.
That's a good one.
And a very long game plan, right? I mean, I couldn't come up with multiple ones. I kind of wanted to do the Joker one too. Well, actually, I didn't want to do Joker. I wanted to do more Riddler. and the reason why I want to do Riddler because I feel like his hasn't necessarily finished yet. I
Well,
feel
no,
like
he
part
good.
of his getting caught is also by intent, right? So that's why like I want that would be my second one because like eventually he's going to lose, right? But part of that losing is also by intent
Well, he
because it's part of the bigger master plan.
so you are right with the Riddler, but he didn't lose. His plan succeeded. He wanted to expose corrupt politicians, which he did. He wanted to turn people against each other and expose the city for what it really was. He destroyed the city at the same time, and he united gangs unintentionally. So no matter what, his plan was successful, even if he got caught or not, or if he has a long game plan. He's still the first phase, whatever he had,
Yeah,
is still
had
successful
had a
because
level of success. Yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
So it's
No,
just like
you're
the
right.
Joker.
You're right.
Joker got caught,
Yeah,
but his intention
sure.
or his you know thought went through it, and his intention succeeded.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Like
that's a good
the
one.
yeah, yeah. Like the war doesn't have to be successful, but a lot of the battles were successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah. Now that like we're having the conversation like on a limb, trying to really think, kind of bring more to the table, but those are my two go-to ones. And like I said, I thought about Joker too, but I'm like, something tells me he's gonna pick the Joker.
I did.
So I
I
was like,
did.
so I was like a lot, but a lot of the Batman villains are kind of like that, you know.
Yeah. A
Like
long game.
you like you could even say like Raj Al Ghul, right? Like,
Mm.
you know, the whole Scarecrow aspect was kind of like his puppet, like not directly maybe, but like indirectly. So, um, but yeah, Batman does have a lot of that going on. Um, so that kind of make them easy choices.
Yeah, because I was thinking about like
Um,
all the other villains. Like I think maybe Thanos would be another one. Like
I
I,
thought about him too because like it took a long plan to get all even though I didn't see all the movies, but I feel like I know enough. Like he got all the fucking Infinity Stones, eventually lost in the end, but shit, like his plans were coming to fruition.
oh, realistically, he won. Like if it wasn't for plot armor, there's no way you could reverse that.
Yeah.
Like he for many years he was figuring out the locations of them and then how he was gonna take the order because there's like you could take one or the other, but then the other stones can counter them. He chose
Mhm.
which order he's gonna take the stones to make it easier, and that was thought out. Then because once he got the first stone, within 5 days he got each of the other stones because he kept planning it and how the word
Mhm.
came out. So like, and he succeeded and he thought out how the Avengers could not reverse it by basically snapping again but destroying the stones themselves so it couldn't be reverted. But then
Mhm.
obviously time travel came into an existence. But
Mhm.
yeah, he's a good thought out villain. It's weird how a lot of these villains are more superhero villains that have thought out plans.
Mhm.
Um,
But
because I'm trying to
better writing.
yeah, I'm trying to think if there's like another. Well, besides, would you consider Die Hard like a superhero?
I've never seen Die Hard, but maybe kind of.
Because like Die Hard has some good villains, like Die Hard with a Vengeance, Live Free or Die Hard, the one where that's another cyber attack. That was a good one with their intentions. Um, I'm trying to think if there's like a non like action superhero movie that actually has a good villain. Maybe Jenny from Forrest Gump.
Jenny from Forrest Gump. No, absolutely
She played
not.
for it. She went through her whole entire horror phase and then got back with the guy she knew that was going to take care of her and then her kid.
If you want to spin it that way, sure.
I'm saying that as like a joke, but
I mean, no, you can make a good case for it. Uh,
I'm trying to think who else would fit this. Like, for some reason, only like superheroes are coming, like
like,
superhero villains are coming to my mind.
hmm. Yeah, like I said, it's an easy road to venture down. I'm trying to even explore like the video game since we obviously talk a lot of video games, like the video game aspect, and man, I don't know.
Okay, so if we're not talking about movies, I can think of some other villains. Like, so I know you don't watch anime, but there's a character. in an anime called Bleach. His name is Aizen. So his whole thing is that he basically, the main character, he set him up from the very beginning to gain his powers, strengthen him over time to fight for himself. But he also knew that there's another character that was stronger than him that he couldn't take on himself. So he wanted to keep boosting his powers so he could fight that guy and defend what he really wanted. And in the end, his plan ended up succeeding, and the main character won over that person he was trying to strengthen him up for. But basically, since the inception of that main character, this villain has been setting him up every single step of the way so he can get stronger and stronger so he can beat that other guy.
Okay.
Another one might be Full Metal Alchemist. There's another one called Father. It's well, so the two main characters is Edward Elric and Alphonse Elric. They're two brothers, and their mother dies, and there's a whole story that goes on there, which I recommend watching if you're into like a really good story. Full Metal Alchemist is, in my opinion, one of the best animes out there. But their father has two versions of himself. He has a homunculus version called the Father, and then he has the real father, which is Hohenheim, and they're battling each other like good and evil, whatever. And they basically set the brothers up on how to succeed them. And eventually it comes down to this huge clash, and I think it's good in how they set them up.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a fantastic topic.
I've just brought up short notice.
Yeah, it was kind of short notice. Like, it's like, I wish I had time to do more homework because I know there's probably so many good ones that we're missing. But like I just didn't want to like loosely, like choose one and not give it like that supportive data or supportive reasoning.
I'm surprised you haven't chose Sargeras or Gul'dan.
Nah.
Because they've succeeded in their plan.
Nah.
They didn't finish all of it, but they succeeded in most of it. All right, so let's see, what's another one? Let's think villain-wise. Video games. I'm trying to think. Oh, I could think of one, and it's very, very weird that Call of Duty actually has a villain that thought itself out. So I'm not sure if you played Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3.
I did do all the originals.
Okay.
I know when you brought up 2 earlier, I was very contemplating thinking of maybe picking up the new one just for this story, which is very odd because obviously most of its replay comes from multiplayer. But out of all the Call of Duties, not that I've really played all of them, but I did enjoy the Modern Warfare set. I really did like playing the campaign. And I heard the re-release of 2 is also really good.
I haven't played it. I bought it when I want to play that soon. So if you have any Star,
no, I don't. I was just told that it is really good. So you let me know if it is, because then if you co-sign it, then I probably will at some point pick it up. Because yeah, I definitely liked the story. But continue. Sorry.
Okay, so in Modern Warfare 1, 2, and 3, obviously it's a 3-part build on top of each other. You think you know who the real villain is. You think it's Zakhaev in the first one, and you think it's General Shepard in the second one, but really the main villain was Makarov the whole time. He was manipulating and orchestrating these events as they went on, and eventually you do kill him. But in the process, he succeeded in his mission. He wanted World War to happen, and he succeeded in causing World War III with a conflict between the U.S. The U.S. was invaded by Russia. Russia going back and accidentally killing the president of Germany and his daughter, something like that. I forgot how it works. But basically, he orchestrates these conflicts and causes massive global war. And that was his intention from the start, just all-out chaos. Like, he launches a nuclear bomb in some... I think it was like Iraq, Afghanistan, whatever. He succeeded in that in the first game. He turned U.S. into a territory that could be invaded. Russia's in all-out war with Germany and the U.S., and the U.S. is fighting back. He just succeeded in all aspects. And so, he won there, even though he died at the end. His intent was still there, and he won. Second one would probably be Black Ops 2 with Raul Menendez. His whole thing was setting up global chaos. Which he then succeeds because he wanted to get revenge for his sister's death, which he eventually does. But at the same time, he wanted people to feel pain and fear, which he does by controlling all these drones and using the world's technology against itself.
Yeah, I mean, like they're all yeah, they're good.
I just wasn't
I
expecting.
mean,
As I was thinking about, I'm like, man, some Call of Duty villains were really thought out.
yeah, but and that's like a like when you think about the topic, you think like I think it's easy to, and I'm guilty of this. Like you want like okay, what's that episode of in which the villain survives and like pretty much walks away, right, winning. But
Mhm.
that's not always the case. Like they could still die or whatever, or get arrested, or what have you. But their actual plan was still executed and succeeded in some fashion. Um, yeah, I'm sure. Like as we're just discussing this, and hopefully when someone's watching and or listening to this, they could chime in and we'll see. We're like, oh, why don't you didn't think of that one? Um, but yeah, I'm drawing a blank. But like I think I really was kind of sold on the Cersei one.
No, I agree. So see, I didn't even
Um,
think about that one, but that's a good one because I totally forgot she basically turns Daenerys into the villain at the end.
mhm. um, but yeah, like anything that's like any type of situation where like they try to spin it to show empathy for the villain, I think usually are the better ones. Um,
When you say that, I obviously I know what you mean, but I'm for some reason I'm lacking examples in my head because I think
so
Thanos might have
one
been one
that
of them that you
like
can like see his point.
I don't want to butcher this one, but because I really got really disappointed with the game. But for Final Fantasy 15, when you're playing the regular story with the regular protagonist, the villain ends up being a character named Arden, and
Oh, you're talking about the uncle?
he no, he ends up being oh shit, I'm brain farting the main character's name already. Oh my god.
Something with an X. He's
No, it's not
black
with an
hair,
X.
or not this
No, Noctis, not Noctis, but
Noctis.
it's Noctis. There you go. You made me remember. No, he's like a descendant, or is it ancestor? I get them mixed up. Of Noctis, of the bloodline. So like when you go play his episode, Arden's episode, you start feeling empathy for him because it's almost like, oh shit, like he is supposed to be the heir. He is supposed to be the king. Um and actually, he ends up like his plans end up winning because he ends up killing, spoilers, Noctis and them, and the ending of the game really is them pretty much going to the afterlife. Um, so in a sense, he ends up winning because he kills them, I guess, But I know there's more to it, and that's why I said like I don't want to butcher it because like it's more deeper than that. Like there is a little bit of mind twist. But yeah, like the whole thing with Arden is like going like he ends up losing his love interest, and that's what kind of sets him off. Like some villains end up happening. Like there's usually a point of triggering, right, where they pretty much say "fuck the world," um, and he does it by pretty much getting back at his own bloodline.
So it's funny that you say this because this is a villain that I love, not because they're smart, but just because of powerful and their intentions. And have you played Castlevania?
I've played a Castlevania. I've never played a lot of them.
So I played a lot of them, and I've also watched videos of people playing them because like if there's ones that I don't like the 2D side scroller ones, I usually just watch like the story version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But Dracula is like the best example of a villain that just wants to do himself, and he does it for his love of his wife, and then eventually the love dies, and he hates
Mm-hmm.
humanity because of
Mm-hmm.
what they did and all that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
because of his hatred and his vengeance, there's just ways for him to keep coming back. Like if you stick him in the heart, he'll go into the afterlife. Then you can resurrect him from hell. Or then there's descendants that can basically resurrect him through blood connections. He will just always there's always some connection to bring him back. It's just like Sauron from Lord of the Rings. Like another reason why I love Lord of the Rings was that, in my opinion, Sauron is a fantastic villain because he doesn't play the brute force route. Even though he can, he plays a long game. He wants to make sure he's meticulous about strategies. Like Sauron, he was originally a general of Morgoth, and then Morgoth fell, and he realized that he's free to take control because he's the only one powerful enough that could do it. So eventually he enacts his plan to turn himself from a half primordial being elf thing to a god. And the way he does that is by orchestrating the creation of the rings, eventually the One Ring. And he also thought about he can still die. He knows in his head that he can still be beaten. So with a failsafe in mind, he put essence or his essence and the soul into this One Ring, so whoever controls it will always be corrupted to the darkness to keep it protected, causing him to have a prolonged life with that ring being involved. Eventually, obviously, we all know the ring gets destroyed and he dies at the end.
Mhm.
But just because of like they're just vengeful
Just
and
the plan
willingness,
itself. Yeah,
yeah, it just
exactly.
keeps them in motion. Like Sauron was alive for like 3,000 years because of this whole ring issue.
Yeah.
So, do you have any villains that you like, even though their plan might not have been intentional, but they were just so good at being what they were?
I mean, I think I easily would probably say Arthas on that one. Although he was more corrupted than having a plan.
Yeah.
But, I mean, part of that corruption, though, was, he was willing to give it all up for vengeance, right? So, like, not really knowing exactly what he was giving up. I mean, but he was willing to sacrifice that all, and he did just that. So I always
Hold on.
like.
Did he give it up for vengeance? Because if I could be wrong. Maybe because you're more into his lore than I am. I thought the reason why he got corrupted is because he originally had a full sense of justice. He wanted to purge evil off the face of the earth. That's why he
Right.
was with Jaina leading crusades. But in that pursuit of cleansing evil, he became evil, and whatever he's seen as, or whatever was good, he's seen as another threat of evil, and eventually that drove him towards the scourge. And then that's what caused, the massacre of Stratholme, him killing his father, and then eventually Uther.
It's
Because
it's
that's not
kind of
really vengeance. It's more just him going too far into his zealot ways of, his belief.
so it's really tough to say because like how do you then judge and say at what point did he kind of lose all of himself, right? Because you talk about the calling of Stratholme, and although he never got to Frostmourne yet, but he was, going down that avenue, but the voices are whispering in his head. Like, at what point does it just all go away, right? Um, you know, it's really tough.
Mm.
Um, but because you want to have justice and you're willing to just go all links and know that whatever this sword or what have you is going to give you that power to do it, like, I don't know, like it's hard to decipher. But so I always liked that.
See, I think this is another
Sorry.
reason why you might like Warhammer. Is there's a lot of people in Warhammer that has that same ideology and mentality. Like, there's just so they believe in their righteous ways so much that they're
Mm-hmm.
delivering justice that
Mm-hmm.
in reality they're just being barbarians and massacring
Mm-hmm.
people. Because
Mm-hmm.
in Warhammer, there's a quote: "I'd rather kill 1,000 innocent people than let one heretic get away."
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how crazy they get in Warhammer. They're willing to massacre millions just to get one guy.
Yeah, and that's what sometimes a lot of big dictators and stuff do and leaders do. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's a really good topic. I just wasn't really prepared for it
Yeah, so
because
it came up to me because like during the holidays, like I said, I was watching these movies and I'm like,
mm-hmm,
damn, these villains had really thought out plans, and it's just like
mm-hmm,
it had me thinking of like what other villains are this well written.
mm-hmm,
And I think
mm-hmm.
that's what started. And then when did I propose this? Thursday, was it yesterday?
Oh shit, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, don't yeah, don't remember.
Yeah, so people listening, I gave this only like a day warning. That's it. So
Yeah,
I had time to watch it over the weeks.
if it wasn't a day, it was definitely no more than 48 hours. That's
So it
true.
was very short notice. Very short
Yeah,
notice.
yeah. But it's cool though. It was a good one though.
Yeah, maybe we could revisit this later, and
Yeah.
as other people give feedbacks too, and we could talk about like other villains that maybe we haven't heard of or just completely forgot about. But yeah, it's weird how villains can really make a story better. Because
Oh,
obviously, a lot of
100%.
people like to vote for the good guy, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the villains are the best part of the stuff. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there's a show, another anime called My Hero Academia. I'm not gonna say their villains are fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
but the reason why I watch shows is because the villains are good. I like
Mm-hmm.
them because they're more entertaining than the actual heroes.
I think I hate to go back once again to Joker and Batman, but I believe Joker is the one that says it in that movie. Is like you need me.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
need
complete you.
me. Yeah, yeah, I complete you. Like, and and that's it's just true with a lot of the storylines. Like you got to have you know God and the devil, angels and demons. It's just you have to have it.
Yeah, and a weird thing, obviously, we're not going too far into superheroes today, but like, I think this is also what makes Batman more loved than Superman. Like, Superman, a lot of people love him because he's really overpowered, but Superman doesn't have any good villains. He has Zog and Lex Luthor; they're okay, but the real best villain about Superman is Superman himself. He makes a good villain.
Yeah,
But
that's
Batman,
true.
he makes a good villain himself. He makes a great
Hmm.
hero himself, but he
Hmm.
also has really good villains to go with his good hero. While
Yeah,
Superman doesn't have that, I think that's why Batman has so much more love compared to Superman.
yeah, I'll concur with that assessment.
But yeah, so you want to put this on hold until we get more feedback from other people, or if you can think of something
Oh
else?
yeah, I'd love to see who would leave comments on that and give their their reasonings why. I mean, I'm sure once you mention the villain, we'll understand the reasoning why. But yeah, I just know we've missed probably some really good ones, and I think that's what kind of upsets me. Is like, God, like we know there's some good ones on the table. We just unfortunately can't
All
really
right.
think of them. But
Before we move on, I'll give you a way to say anybody. It doesn't have to be a villain in particular, but like
mhm.
another person I thought had a really good plan, and well, I guess you can call him a villain if you want, but it's from Shawshank Redemption. It's Andy Dufresne. He played the long con all the way through. He knew he was innocent, but he knew because he didn't want to stay in that prison, he figured out a way to slowly over time break himself out.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. That one's a good one.
Yeah, because he was slowly
I'll, I'll
chipping
throw
away
I'll,
over years, and then
I'll throw I'll throw another one strictly character wise. And I know you're not big on wrestling, but you'd probably still maybe understand this one a little bit. But I'll say Vince McMahon.
wait, as a villain or just he has a
Yeah, as a
good
villain.
plan?
As a villain with plans. I mean,
Okay.
like he's played a villain on his wrestling show for decades.
That works
And
too because it's entertainment. If his storyline
yeah, no,
fits,
it is.
then we'll
It
go with
is.
that. So he has the
It is.
best villain story in wrestling entertainment.
Yeah. I'll just
Okay.
throw that out there. Honorable mention.
There's no one that comes close to Vince McMahon in
In
wrestling.
wrestling?
Yeah.
Probably secondary, probably Triple H when he was around. Right now, since I follow AEW, it would probably be MJF, Maxwell Jacob Freeman. Um, and he has a lot of years to get better. I mean, he is really, really, and I mean really fucking good at his craft. But he's only 24, 26, so he's really young. So yeah, he if he wants, he has decades worth of more content. So
Well, not to go too far into wrestling because that wasn't the original topic, but I have some to add, and maybe you can correct me here.
yeah,
But is the Undertaker or Kane a villain? Because I always
Undertaker, I would say hard no. Kane has been.
because I kind of like when I was into wrestling, I always loved the story between those two because they're brothers in real life, right, or cousins or whatever.
No. That's
Oh, the
strictly
only
just
brothers
story.
in wrestling.
Yeah.
Because I love how they like were like the yin and yang of each other. Like Kane was a
Mm-hmm.
bad guy with his mask, and then he eventually removed that mask, turned into a good guy, and all that stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was good. And then oddly enough, one of the weird ones that I didn't think I would like as much is I could be getting their names wrong. Eddie Guerrero and Rey
Mm-hmm.
Mysterio. Like there was like a
Mm-hmm.
father son conflict, and it turns out Eddie Guerrero was the. I don't know if it was a real father or if it's just
No, it's all storylines. But yeah, no, that was a storyline at one point. Yeah.
yeah. And then he's
Yeah.
like, no,
And
I'm
now
your father.
actually, because that storyline was Rey Mysterio's actual son, and now his actual son is actually wrestling in WWE right now. So
Okay.
that same kid that you're talking about, that storyline. Yeah.
Because
So
I was like, that was kind of
so
like
it's
they did
like
like
one
a
of
Star
those like
Wars. I'm
that's
your
like one of
father.
your "Do you feel old yet?" type situations.
Oh, that was that long ago.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that. I felt like it was like recent too.
Yeah.
And that shit,
No.
I don't even watch wrestling. I thought it was recent.
Yeah. No. That was a long time ago.
But yeah, yeah, whoever has like the best villains, it doesn't have to be just movies. It could be video games, animes, wrestling, whatever you think is
Cartoons.
a.
Like I was really trying to come up with a good cartoon one, and not like anime cartoon, like cartoon, like. But yeah, please feel free to share. We'd love to see them, and then immediately be like, oh yeah, forgot about that one. So you
Speaking,
know what? Not now. I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I gotta get this out, but we're not gonna spend much time on it. It just fucking clicked. Fucking Ganondorf, Ganon.
Oh yeah,
End of story. Let's move on.
Calamity. Wait, okay, not to go on too far, but which version again? All of them or just one of them?
It's all of them because he's constantly doing it.
Okay,
Because he's the one that's in every timeline.
true. Yeah, he is he's the definitive evil in that
Like
universe.
yep.
I could accept that. All right, moving on to a definitive evil in the media currently, for now, until somebody else takes over, is Andrew Tate. He has been arrested in Romania. The way he got arrested is hilarious. This is why I don't believe in banning people, because Andrew Tate, he's been reinstated on Twitter, and because of that, he got into a little bit of a back and forth argument with some people, one of them being Greta Thunberg. I don't know. I don't like her. I'm going to keep messing up her name. But got into a debate with him. Eventually, Andrew Tate showed a picture. The Romanian police were able to figure out where Andrew Tate was because of that picture of a Jerry's.
I think it was an actual video. It wasn't even a picture.
Oh, it was a video?
Yeah.
And they were able to pinpoint his location because of him having a pizza box in that video, Jerry's Pizza. So the pizza man got him.
Talk about villains.
Yeah, Jerry played the long game. But he was arrested, I believe, yesterday. I think he's out right now, or he's going to be released soon. They
I
arrested.
believe it's released already.
They here. Let me actually pull this up so you guys can see it too for the people that are watching video. He was arrested in Romania. They were supposed to detain him for a month under allegations, suspicion, whatever, of human trafficking and rape. Obviously, these allegations have been circling around for a while around him, but none of them have been proven. But I believe he's released now, as Steve just said. But the article I have is from when he got arrested on CNN. Obviously, CNN isn't always the best trusted news source, but I just have them up as the current article. It's just weird. It's weird that they arrest him from speculation, because usually when people get arrested, it's usually from hardcore or concrete evidence. But of course, this is the Romanian police, so they have different laws and rules or whatever. So they arrested him for those speculations, which turned out, or at least at the moment, false. Obviously, as the story develops, we don't know, but so far, every allegation that's ever come up about this has always been, debunked
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so I think, well, the reason why this topic is coming up, well, obviously, is fucking always in the news, but like I feel like the reason why I propose it is just mainly because of the story arc. Like, I mean, we know this is real life situation, but I think everybody is also getting a very hefty laugh out of it because of the story arc. Like Josh had said, he just got reinstated. He decides, and I don't even know the whole genesis of it, but he decides to pick a fight with Greta, who then, in return just tweets back, and then takes him a minute to even tweet back, and then somehow does the video. And I haven't even watched it yet, but because of the video, the intelligence agency of Romania decides to know exactly where he's at. And it's just like, it's the shit that you would see in a fucking movie. Like,
not just any movie, a comedic movie.
Yes, like it's just like, how is this real life? Like, we probably truly are living in a simulation.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so funny. And before, I mean, as the story is obviously progressing, you know, he has been released. We don't know the specifics, but to Josh's point, like he's haven't found guilty of anything yet. But if dare I say it this way, if he was this dumb to get caught
with a video.
like this now, what's to say the next slip up is the one that finally fucking gets him?
Yeah. But at this point, you know,
man probably needs to fucking shut up at this point. Like,
well,
seriously.
I don't know if "shut up" is the right word because all this could be a hit job. I'm not going to defend him because, I mean, who knows? Maybe there is a possibility where he is trafficking humans and he's raping them. If so, he deserves to go to jail. If that is the
100%.
case. If that's the case,
200%.
he 100% goes to jail.
Yeah, 1000%.
But from every instance that's been proven up until the point, he has been innocent of everything. It just seems like a hit job. And if that's the case, the people that are doing these attacks on him, if he truly is innocent, should be investigated in return and seeing why they're doing this. Because this is technically assault if he's innocent.
Now, when you say hit job,
that means a political opposition that does not agree with the statement and attacking him because they don't agree with him, not because he's guilty of anything. It's just because they don't like him and causing a potential harm. Like these raids, Twitch streamers and YouTubers have been raided and killed because of this.
No, I concur with all that for sure, and I've pretty been open about that with different things. But how do you then go and pinpoint? How do you blame one person for a hit job? Like I feel like
no, you don't blame an individual person. You blame the group that is
also like also, you know, we always talk about cancel culture a lot on this podcast too. Like you can't really pin it on one person. Like there literally is a force that want to see this man fail.
Well, see, you're assuming one person. I'm saying whoever is doing these attacks, if he's innocent, any involvement, like if the leaders, the heads, whoever's organizing these things, should all be investigated in return to see what kind of messed up stuff they're doing, and also get charged with criminal charges for assaulting an innocent person. Because people, like I said, I don't know if he's innocent. I'm not in his life. I don't know. If he actually is convicted of this stuff, I hope he goes to jail. If he's not, the people in return should get investigated because people have died from false charges like this.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so crazy is that, you know, how much of an impact he has. Like it's scary.
And the funny thing is, he doesn't really have an impact. It's because the people that are attacking him are the reason why people are gravitating towards him, because they're like, why people are starting to see, like, why are they attacking him?
I mean, whether it's not him or not, it still is auraed by him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying I wish for the man not to exist, but like, or ever existed, but more of a story, directly or indirectly, it's because of him.
Well, so here's my argument against it, because you and I didn't even know who he was until the people attacking him knew him. So that wasn't his doing. The people attacking him did it. So they gave him power by attacking him, thus causing people like us to get associated with his content.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that's where it goes back into that philosophy where more times than not, it's the negative light that brings more attraction than positive. Because you're right. Like if he didn't say and believe in all the negative stuff too to capacity, although sometimes I feel like it is a facade. But
and honestly, there's very little negative things he's actually said. A lot of it's usually taken out of context too, because I've researched some of them.
Oh no, I've did some myself. I mean, once again, said this again. We've talked about in previous on his contents, and I believe all of us at the time said like, hey, it's hard not to disagree with some of the shit he says. It's just that we understand the world we live in, and
people are too far progressive in the United States for that.
Yeah, and to your point, things get taken out of context so quickly. Just for example, like him getting arrested, right? It said for investigation purposes. Immediately people would think like he's guilty. No, it's to investigate. Like he's like that dynamic too needs to fucking stop. Like the world has been turned backwards where, you know, it's not innocent until proven guilty. It's now you're
guilty until proven innocent.
Guilty until proven innocent.
And even that
and then on top of that, you may never get that reputation back. Like it's stained pretty much forever. Um, so yeah, that's the part that irks me the most, and it obviously sounds like it's in his defense. Like, no, it's a societal issue.
Mm.
Um, but dare I say it'll be interesting to see where this goes, because like if I'm being brutally honest, I could give a flying fuck. The only reason why I bring them up is because I personally thought the story itself was funny, and it really is funny. Am I interested to see where it goes? Yeah, but I'm not going to be like on the internet looking for every single update. I don't care about the guy that like that.
No, but I think it does bring awareness that there's people out there, if he is innocent, that we should watch out for those people that are so against having a open thinker like this compared to this one-track ideology that they're trying to push, because that could be really dangerous. Fascism started off that way, where they want to suppress any opposition. So I think this is an awareness issue for people attacking people that do not agree with them.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I mean, you I don't want to like stem too far out and like go way left field and like get into religion and all this shit, but there's extremism that is very scary. Like he, in some capacity or in a capacity, he's on one, but that balance is there's people on the opposite side of him that is just equally as scary. Is to your point, right? And I agree. Like that, it's that double standard which we all know exists. That's another version of it, a very extreme version of it. But I mean, I concur. Like they it would need to get investigated. Will it?
I think people need to push on it.
The answer to it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, unless people push, which it should be. I think everybody should be investigated for all this.
but who knows? Maybe there will be shock value. I think the only way it gets pushed is if he pushes back.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to happen. Well,
I mean, he tries, but one man doesn't work against the whole system. You need more people than just one.
But true, but let's be honest, he's more than one person. He has his following.
Yeah, but the same thing can be said about Trump, and Trump's people got suppressed instantly.
Where I feel like, how can I put it? Where he probably won't push back, and I'm not saying he's guilty, but like, if he's not 100% clean and confident and stays quiet and doesn't push back, I think that alone shows that there's probably something there, something tangible. And that's why it won't get pushed back.
I have a feeling the reason, I mean, obviously I don't know until full investigations are through, so I'm just speculating. If he's, like I said, if he's guilty, he deserves to be in prison 100%. There's no denying it.
Correct.
But the way he's acting, when he got arrested, him and his brother, Tristan and Andrew, when they got arrested, there was no panic. And these people, I mean, if you want to say they're smart, go ahead. But they look like the average guy. They're not this criminal mastermind. I mean, obviously I might be underballing him, who knows. But they don't seem that smart to think that far in advance, especially with their reaction. A smart person wouldn't react that way. So that's given me more. Obviously, this is just my opinion. It makes me feel like they're more innocent, especially since they were released. Because originally their detainment was supposed to last a month during this investigation, but because of the massive amount of lack of anything to back up these allegations, that's the reason why they released him. And that's another good validation that he is most likely innocent of these. But yeah, it's just weird seeing how they're reacting, because people want to claim as he's. I mean, like I said, if he is, hopefully he's in prison. But so far, it seems like
it's my understanding this isn't his first rodeo either.
Oh no,
like he's been detained. I don't know how many times, but I know it's not the first. So
yeah, this charge is. I mean, this supposed human trafficking charge has been overset for like 4 years. Or 3 years, something like that. And he's been arrested before in other countries, when he was in the U.S., when he was on his yacht. That's the reason why he was on his yacht for a while, because he's on international waters where he couldn't be arrested. But I feel like if he does keep quiet, then that's when I would feel like he's starting to get guilty. Usually, when a guilty person will stay quiet and reserved.
Even that last part, being on open waters. I mean, you're evading. Why are you evading? If you're innocent, why are you evading?
Well, supposedly there was there. I mean, obviously, I'm only saying from what I've heard. I don't know if it's true
Uh-huh.
because I'm not part of that. But the
Uh-huh.
reason why he was on his yacht for so long is this was when he was on his band. When he was kicked off of all social media.
Uh-huh.
He said he just wanted to get away because he was tired of how things were and he just wanted to relax and have fun with the people. Obviously, he docked multiple times in multiple countries. I think it was like 3 countries. So he did definitely come back to countries where they could detain him, and he made it very public where he was going because of all his Instagram or what is it? Not Instagram. I think it's Rumble. Like when he was kicked off all those other sites, I think he went on Rumble, and then he was
Mm-hmm.
doing live streams there. He was doing a lot of shows, so
Mm-hmm.
people knew where he was at during those times.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if you want to count that
Gotcha.
hiding just because of he was still being very vocal during those
No, no, no.
times.
That's no that no that that yeah that debunks what I said. Um, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, exactly what you said. Like, I mean, I think like for certain things like this, we agree on certain things where like it is not proven guilty. You stay quiet. You wait, see how it pans out before you give your final opinion, I guess. But like we both agree that if he is guilty, then he deserves everything that's coming to him.
Mm.
Like that you don't endorse that, but all because you're accused doesn't mean you're fucking guilty and you're an evil person like that. But that's our world nowadays.
Mm. And there's a lot of lives ruined because of false accusations. And
Exactly.
I mean, besides like take away the Andrew Tate thing, I think it should be like a true evaluation. Well, I don't know if we want to say worldwide because I feel like this is more of an American issue or a Western issue because there's a lot of other countries that their media says complete opposite of what we do. Like they're not so quick and judgmental like we are. They usually wait until sources come out. I think this is more of a Western issue where we want to think everyone's guilty until whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like we just want to believe accusations just because it's more entertaining that way.
Yeah, I don't think it's entertaining. I think it's.
Oh no, I definitely agree. It's not entertaining, but I'm saying because
Oh, I
of
know. We do. Like I said, in those thought processes were pretty identical. But no, you're right. Everything you're saying is right. It's just like I keep every time we talk about something like this or similar, it just shakes my head and just pisses me off and makes me sad.
yeah, and then like to add on to this, like moving from Andrew Tate because like I think we've already ran this course with that.
Yeah.
But like there's other people that are talking that are like that shouldn't be making comments. Like for example, like Greta Thunberg. I mean, love her, hate her, I don't care, but she's done nothing besides complain. She hasn't done anything impactful for the world. She hasn't changed anything. She's just a girl that says things that most of the time gets debunked as infactual. And I feel like people like her get a platform and how do you say it, celebritized when they're not deserving of it. Like there's people younger than her that are working on water purification plants, working on astrology, rockets engineering. People at SpaceX that are actually doing something for the betterment of humanity, but they're not getting any highlight because people like Greta Thunberg are willing to have like a little tantrum on TV and say, "Oh, we need justice," when they don't do anything for justice. So
Hmm.
I feel like these people that are hypocrites, we're giving them too much power to talk when we really should be deplatforming them. Like for example, I'm not sure if you heard about this, but there is a Twitch streamer named Pokimane. I
Hmm.
don't watch her, I don't hate her, but she has a lot of history with her
Hmm.
saying very bad things like racial slurs, doxing people. If you don't know what doxing is, it's where you leak somebody's personal information so people know where they live, their address, their phone number, etc. And she's also banned innocent people just because of difference of opinion, which is wrong.
Hmm.
And she's
Hmm.
trying to approve legislation to create more accountability. Which I agree there should be a certain amount of accountability, but she's asking for legislation that the government should be a part of, which I think that's a horrible idea because they'll probably overpolice. Obviously, the government's always going to be involved in the internet, but I don't think they should make the rules for the internet too much
Hmm.
because they
No.
overpolice everything like they do now.
Hmm.
But it's just weird that she's calling for this because of her history with those rules that she wants to imply. She should be in prison for what she's done.
She's already broken them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I kind of like you. I'm obviously aware of her. I've heard of her. don't follow her, probably haven't watched no more than a minute of her content ever. And I've heard a little of that story you shared, but I never dug deep into it. Um, and and I guess I just also learned about doxing myself because I've heard that term. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah. I mean, I know I've been guilty of, probably been a hypocrite for certain things over time. But sometimes you wear the badge of a hypocrite even when you change for the good, right? Because I mean, not her situation. I'm just saying in general now. In general, like you can become a hypocrite when you change for the better at
Well,
times, right?
yeah,
You like
but what I'm saying is that everybody
so
at some point has become.
sometimes being a hypocrite isn't always bad. Is what I'm
Well,
getting at.
I'm not
Not
saying.
her.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying everybody at some point has become a hypocrite
Yeah,
because they did something and then eventually they changed their stance.
correct.
She is the worst type of hypocrite. She will, shout morality, justice, but do the opposite thing every single time.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's the
Hmm.
worst type of hypocrite where
Hmm.
they'll say they're the most righteous person ever when they're really
Hmm.
not, and
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
dangerous.
Oh, very dangerous. Yeah, 100%.
Like everybody makes mistakes. That's the human factor. Everybody
Yeah,
does it.
and that's
Whoever
part
thinks
of
they're
growing.
perfect is delusional.
100%.
We all make mistakes. We're all
Every.
wrong at some point. But in
Mm.
her case, obviously, I don't watch her much, but all the clips I've seen of her, which is a lot on it, unfortunately, because it's just all over the feed. She says a lot of things and does the complete opposite many times.
Yeah. I think just for that reason alone, I will completely avoid her because it'll just irk the fuck out of me. Um, yeah, I mean I think and this remark might piss off a lot of people, but I feel like that's also a conduit of her being attractive and being attractive and then dumb and thinking like because I'm sexy, I could get away with being a hypocrite. And unfortunately, she's not wrong because once again, that's how our society is, the double standards and all that shit. But I also kind of believe in this. You know, you only get away with it for so long.
I feel
Some
like she's gotten
some
away with it for too long.
and that may be true, and it might continue to be true. But I feel at some point it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
She's getting away with it longer.
I agree to your point because, there's a person that's basically her rival, and
Mhm.
it's not her rival intentionally. Her name is Valkyrie. I'm pretty sure you've heard of her.
I've heard of her as well. I've seen her.
I
She
actually
was
like her.
wait, wasn't she at the Game Awards? Was
I
that
think
her?
so. I think maybe.
Okay.
She's a shorter girl. Um, she's also another very attractive girl. But
Mhm.
the reason why I like her is because she does her thing. She doesn't preach. She doesn't, play the moral card. She just does her. She won't say she's better than you. She won't say she's worse than you. She just does her. She does her business. She's smart. But because of that, because of her being an actual creator and not a preacher, she's taking away Pokemon's audience, causing a decretion for her. And I think because of Valkyrie's succession, it might be the obsolescence of Pokemon.
Mm.
And there's also many other female creators that are successful because they're doing the same thing, that they're just focusing on the entertainment aspect. They're focusing on having fun. They're not focusing on the virtue signaling like some of these other people are. That
Political aspect. Yeah.
yeah, and they're just doing them. And I think that's the turning point I think for society that we need is that there's more people like them that are coming forward and taking away the spotlight from people like Pokemon, which I think is a great thing.
I might be making this up, but did it ever happen where the Pokemon Company tried to go after Pokemon after her name because of just simply the Pokey?
I mean, they probably have. I know what you're talking about because there's also another girl, another Twitch streamer that also had the Pokemon name, but she was involved in OnlyFans and sexually explicit stuff,
Uh
and they
huh.
sued her because they didn't want the Pokemon name to be associated with that kind of content. But I'm pretty sure at some
Exactly.
point they might have also gone after Pokemon, but because of I don't know what reason she has, but apparently
Uh,
Pokemon's the exception, but the other ones have gotten stricken down because of that.
gotcha. Okay. Maybe that's where I got it twisted because it happened to other people. Okay.
Yeah, she was eventually on the line for that, but I think because she didn't break those guidelines that Pokemon requires. I think that's why she's allowed to keep the name, and I think it's also because her actual name is involved in her username as well. I think that's also another reason why she's able to get away with it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, like I mean,
because I don't think her name is actually Pokimane. I think it's Pokemon, Iman. It's something. Apparently the fans call her Pokimane, but her actual name is something else.
gotcha.
Like her pronunciation, I
Like
forgot
that's
what
her
the original
short
one.
name.
Yeah.
Her short alias. But yeah, like the other thing I just wanted to say, like, is as a society as a whole, like, obviously we have the ability to, police ourselves. It's just we do a fucking horrible job, and it's as you say, it's always directed in the wrong way. Hopefully that tide could change over time, but I don't think I'm confident in that. So yeah.
Yeah. It's just weird seeing this. Like, this has been a very interesting landscape for digital media as a whole. Like, with Elon Musk, we're instituting a lot of people, which, I know a lot of people have their opinions about Elon Musk too, because, they say either he's running it to the ground or whatever. But the reason why I'm a fan of it is because he's reinstating people like Andrew Tate. And, like him, hate him, when you unban people, you get to see their idiocy for what it is. When you ban them, their idiocy is kept secret, and they only evolved in groups that are enhancing their idiocy.
Correct.
And, like, for example, Donald Trump, he made a platform on truth. And I think that was the worst thing for him. Because of that, his ego has been, like, just blasted to 11 because of people just sucking him off on truth instead of hearing criticism on other platforms.
To your point, and maybe this meme existed for quite some time, and I'm just barely noticing it now, but the "let him cook" meme.
Yeah,
like that. Like that. That's what this is all. That's exactly. Yeah, let him marinate. Let him bury himself or herself. Let them fuck up.
Yeah, because when you ban him, it'll just make them worse and give them justification for the reasoning.
Well, not only that, but to your point, they're going to then gravitate to the people that do support them and are all yes, sir, yes, ma'am, yes, whatever. And they're never gonna, if they ever do get better, they're never going to get better. There's no rehabilitation that way. So yeah, no, you're right.
Because for example, like it's no secret I said I voted for Trump because I do like his policies. But when I looked on Truth, the people that CNN likes to paint as bad guys, when you look at Truth, you're like, oh, okay, these are the people they're talking about. These really far extremists. And I'm like, yeah, banning those people is probably a bad idea because now they're starting to organize. And that's a big issue.
So I did not vote for Trump. Despite what you said, policies being, dare I say, to my benefit. Because of his association, that's why I did not vote for him, because I knew what it would lead to. And that's the shitty reason why not to vote somebody, but that was my reasoning.
But to be fair, that association was with every candidacy. Like Biden
no,
has
you're,
a huge...
you're not wrong, but like, and you may wholeheartedly disagree with me, and that's totally fine. I don't think that extremist is as bad as his extremist, and
it's
the
very
chaos
bad.
that it could cause. No, I know it's bad. I'm not what I said. I'm just saying I don't think it's that impactful. It hasn't shown to be as impactful as what the Trump one was. That's just my opinion.
Obviously, we're not going to get too political here. I'll just go on to the counterpart.
Mm-hmm.
You got the far extreme Proud Boy, KKK, whatever on the right?
Mm-hmm.
You got hardcore Antifa on the left. And they were part of the huge devastations of the 2020 riots and what made it so deadly. So both sides are, they're meeting each other right there in the middle as just being horrible.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also have people like Biden that has both bad sides on them. Like, he has Antifa on his side, but he's been to KKK funerals. So but that's just besides the point. Like both left and right have very terrifying extremists that should be.
Yeah, no, they do.
They should be looked at. they shouldn't be isolated because isolation amplifies their craziness. They should
Mm-hmm.
be exposed and let them take themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
Because once they
Mm-hmm.
start hearing other opinions, they might either be turned back to the good side or they will just keep cooking themselves until they just get imprisoned because they're doing actual actions that are dangerous to people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But yeah, I think that was a great discussion, great topic. I mean, we turned it into a great topic.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean, yeah.
outside of that, outside of just topics in general, is there anything else you wanted to touch up at the? Unless you had more on that topic, I apologize. I'm here trying to wrap that up, but I felt
Um,
like we,
Honestly, there's probably loads, but that they could be their own thing. Like we can go
of
on for
course,
hours on this. So I
oh,
think
of
this will
course,
probably. I
of
mean, we
course,
the main header was Andrew Tate, the releasing, and all that stuff. We got that point across. So I think we could. I think we could wrap it up fun.
cool. Anything else though you want to talk about? Why we have
Um,
this forum?
I'm trying to figure out because obviously there is stuff, and I most likely forgot them as we kept talking. um, but yeah, no, I would love to. As we were talking about earlier, resolutions and all that stuff. I
Yep,
really do want to hear opinions on what viewers want to see going forward with the Automatic podcast because obviously we are here for the viewers. We want to make things better. We want to make them more enjoyable, more entertaining. We do definitely want to hear your opinions because we want to hear what kind of guests you want to see on the podcast, who you want to look for. Because I know I'm trying to get not just other content creators and podcasters. I would love to eventually get music makers like from gaming or movies or game developers, movie directors, or artists. Because like there's a person I'm following. A spoiler alert: I'm working for somebody that is actually a how do you call it? An art developer publisher for World of Warcraft. He may be the one that published the new profession icons. So I'm trying to network with him. I'm trying to get more people like that in here to create a little bit more variety and you know just expand our views a little bit. But yeah,
awesome.
I'd love to hear what you guys think. I'd love to hear what you think, Steve, because I know that we haven't talked about too much because of how busy we are. But yeah, I want to hear just what you guys would love to see in the future coming forward. Because
Yep, well
2023 is a
said.
new year.
Yes, sir. Well said. And yeah, please comment away. Let us know your resolutions and everything else that we talked about today. The favorite villain, or not favorite villain, but villain with the best plan. I mean,
You can say
maybe
favorite
not
villain
favorite villain,
too.
but the villain with the best plan that we obviously missed. And we will see and hopefully hear you next year.
Yep. May all of you have a great 2023. A good New Year's. Hopefully, next New Year's bring you great health, great joy, prosperity, whatever comes that you want.
And always stay safe. Call that
Yes.
Uber, call it Lyft. Don't fucking drink and drive.
Unless they're drinking, then call another one.
There you go.
All right. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys can always check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever your platform of choice is. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.